I need to just get these all on one. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Go Live. Typically manic, but not so typically badly late. 9 minutes late. Welcome to Go Live, a gaming talk show where we talk about gaming with you, our lovely gamers. And shout out to the General C, who's his birthday today, and he's 30 years old. General, let me tell you right now, it gets shit from here on out. Shout out to General C in the chat. Wish him a happy birthday, everyone in chat. It's gonna be a mad show. We have plenty of topics, and we've got the three boys. We the boys. We the boys. It's gonna have a wicked chat show. Last week was a bit chaotic because Asa wasn't here and it was all StreamYard run, and now we're back running it nice and beautifully thanks to Asa, and we're gonna get saucy. But before we do, you know the protocol. I ask Asa stuff. He doesn't give me any basic human responses, then I move on to the next person. Asa 010010.
Yeah, bleep, bleep, boop, yeah. That's pretty much it. It doesn't get worse after 30. You've doomed yourself with better. Your terrible lifestyle. You'll be fine, Connor. You'll be fine. And anybody else that's dreading being 30. Not so bad, and I'm a fair amount older than that. It's good to be back. Welcome everybody that is here. Let's get on it. You said there's like a million topics, so let's crack through them.
Yeah, we have a million topics. And the last, but certainly not least, another member of the familia. It is Hargeet from the west side.
West
I think it's the west side? Wait,
no, I'm from the
west
eastern coast of the U.S. in Boston.
Oh, shit. I thought you were in San Fran for some reason. Oh, you're in Boston?
No.
Oh,
I'm in
shit.
Boston,
okay.
yeah.
Damn it, wrong song.
But either way, so just getting over a cold, so you'll see I'm a little stuffy. And
Why is your background?
a flaming PlayStation. Yeah, it'll be about one of the topics we have. I think it might be the first one. But anyway, just saying there might be some issues going on, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, but so I might be a little spotty when I'm talking. I might have to like mute and cough a little bit.
You'll go
we'll see how
cold,
it goes.
haven't you? No, you'll be fine. Your energy will overcome your illness. It's so contagious. We have a great topic. We have loads of topics to talk about. Good to have you gents here. And there's a lot to talk about. Shout out to 200 people already here. We're going to get sourced. But as always, we start off with the games. Asa, what have you been playing?
Good question. I've played a whole bunch of Spider-Man 2 over the last week. I'm eventually going to put together a review for that one. Spider-Man 2 is, I know you didn't like the first one, which means you probably won't like this one. When it is good, it is brilliant. That's definitely not the whole play experience, but when it is good, it is so very, very good. I've played some Forza Motorsport and Halo at the weekend. Well, there are definitely issues that I'll go into more another time. When you're not following that main storyline, when you're going through the spectacle and the handcrafted movie-like storyline, it is so very good. And when you're doing the stuff that isn't that,
do you need to play it, or could you just watch it?
No, you need to play it. That's a criticism I'm not on board with. It's definitely a game with a lot of gameplay, with lots of buttons to press.
Yes.
No, you couldn't just watch it, but it does have issues around that story. And what else did I play? I played Layers of Fear in VR, which was freaking terrifying. Very tame game if you play it on pancake mode, but if you play it in VR, I nearly died.
Yeah. That is something I can't do.
Would you like to play Spider-Man in VR?
Obviously, I'd like to play everything in VR if I could, but I wouldn't stomach being Spider-Man, first person, flipping around and all of that kind of stuff. It would need to be something other than that.
Right?
Spider-Man.
It's a little much, isn't it?
Pretty diverse games then. You got Spider-Man, you got Layers of Fear in VR. And did you try Alan Wake 2?
I've not tried Alan Wake 2. I'm really tempted by it, but it's not that high on my list of things I'm really tempted by. I want to play it as a tech demo, because if you play it on PC or on GeForce Now, then you've got all of this path tracing sexiness that I would like to experience and take a look at from that side of things. But I didn't get along very well with Alan Wake 1. So Alan Wake 2, unless I go through like the fortnight recap of what Alan Wake 1 was all about, I'm going to wait for a little bit and play that one down the line, I think. What about you? You've been playing that? I know you have.
Alan Wake, Alan Wake 2 I've been playing. It's quite interesting to see the various different reactions to the game. So Randall Thor19, the man with a trillion, thinks that this game is his game of the year. Like, he freaking loved it. He made me buy it. I was going to buy it anyway, but he literally was like, GaaS, buy this game. Literally the day it came out, just downloaded it, because Rand, when he gets excited about shit, it's pretty infectious. So I'm like, okay, let's see what he's talking about. And I haven't got that far because this week has been, these last 2 weeks have been insane for me. But I did play it quite a bit, and I'm immediately taken aback by it, which is surprising because I shouldn't be taken aback by it too much, because I'm more for gameplay over everything else. And so far, the things that have pulled me in aren't really the gameplay. It's the story, it's the vibe, the visuals. To me, this is probably, I'm struggling to think of a better looking game. Like, I'm like, why is I don't know if more people are saying Alan Wake 2 is beautiful, but it is stunning. Like, I'm like, this is the next gen, this is a current gen game. This is what I expected games to look like, especially in the forest with the density that you have and all the movement in the rain. I just like, this game is beautiful. But it's one game I'm playing in quality mode, and I instinctively picked quality over performance because of this game doesn't look like a game that I really need performance, and I genuinely don't feel the difference. As in, I haven't even gone back to performance, but I don't feel like I'm missing anything because of the nature of the gameplay. It's very divisive. I've had BG has quit playing the game. BG said this game is boring. There's not hardly any shooting for ages. Cole Eastwood is saying the same kind of thing. Like, he's more leaning towards BG's side. He hasn't gone far, so he might change his mind. But so it's interesting to see. So I'm going to, and I'm such a bitch, the big reason why I haven't played this game that much is because I've been so busy during the day. Late at night is when I've been playing. I'm too much of a bitch to play this game at night because it's scary as hell. It's like 3 a.m. I was playing and I tweeted, I'm like, I shouldn't be playing this. And it just freaking jump scares. It scared the shit out of me. I should play it. But if you're danked and you're scared, bad. So I've been playing that. I've been playing Halo Infinite as well. Halo Infinite is so much fun to play. It's so smooth. It's like crack. I'm back on that game, and I'm desperately just like, I was late today for my date. I was just like, just play games. Was it today? Yesterday? I don't even, time doesn't make sense anymore. So I've been playing that. And Halo Infinite is in a great place right now. There are some issues with this microtransactions I hear of the community. I haven't really delved deep into it, but it's really good to see Halo come back. Like,
tell me more specifically though. So what kind of content are you getting through on Halo Infinite? What is it that you're doing? So, yeah, that's a good question. What is it that's making me go back to Halo? So first of all, when you first played, this is such a night and day difference. When Halo first came out, you had like 3-4 playlists, basic modes. Now you just got like a wall of playlists. So I'm just like, there's anything for BTB, Slayer, freaking Slayer. Stupid. This is how crazy it was. Now, but my favorite game mode, I keep forgetting the name of it. And Hargeet, I mentioned it before. What is it called? Chat, same game mode that I mentioned last week, where you just sport. It's like crazy forge maps. Crazy weapons, like different values, and you've got these like Japanese level with the narrow thing. It's just like simple, crazy batshit kill trustees everywhere, and I'm just like, I didn't think I would like that element of Halo that much. I was more of a serious player back in the day, but not just that. And you know how much of a Husky raid? Thank you, chat. Thank you, Noob Cybot. Like Husky raid is so great, but the other bit, and you know how much of a slut I am for microtransactions. The first thing I didn't even see what the season pass was. Bought the season pass, bought the first skin because they look good. Like, you get the flood stuff, but there's so many skins now. Like every Spartan looks different, and that's what makes Halo. That's what makes a good live service game. Because every Spartan feels distinctive. Armor cores, everything can change up now, so you're not stuck with that old lie has been rectified. So you can swap, change helmets and everything. So that smooth, good
servers as well. I'm not getting chucked into American servers where my ping is 130 ms. Still needs region filters, but yeah, it's just fun to play. It's just addictive. It's finally getting to where it should have been at launch, and it was like this at launch. This game would be fucking off the charts.
It needed another year, like we were saying, delay Halo.
Like
it needed another year, right?
Yeah.
And Firefight is the one that you didn't mention.
I haven't even tried that.
There are already some fan-made Firefight maps because the new Forge allows you to create them, and man, is it so fun! It's so good. I like Firefight is such a great mode. I can't wait for the official one, but there's already freaking maps out there. It's just fun as hell. We were playing that for hours and hours last night. I can't recommend it enough. Like, there's just something about the Halo gameplay loop that's just so cool, and having a whole bunch of people going wave after wave after wave with enemies just coming at you. It was so fun. But yeah,
that was the fan made one. So yeah, because the official one was out,
not even the official ones yet. The official ones are still to come.
Amazing.
But even the fan-made ones are so
good. When I was asking
good.
GaaS what kind of content has brought him back, I was really the bit I was mostly curious about is if you're delving into the community-made content or if it is like the official core content.
It's community-made content. It's all community made. The maps are community made, and that game mode whose name I just Husky Raid. It's such a weird name. It's just all community. The Forge has saved this game. Forge has really
100%
injected life into this game. Like, a lot of people thought Forge, it's not that big, but Forge is transformative to this game's fate. And 343. Like, immediately Pierre gets the flowers. Now it's just like, all right, you brought me back, and I'm being quite vocal, like, critic of this game. Other people are the same. You had the Ant-Man, I forgot what his name is.
Ant-Man.
Yeah, it's just good to have Halo back. I've also been playing Armored Core. I think I'm about to finish it. Beat the freaking annoying boss, Atreus Balteus, whatever, the purple laser guy. So I've been playing that. Hopping around loads of different games, but desperately want to, when I finally start streaming on my channel, I want to do more Combat 1. That's do the whole story stream. Sekiro, I can't wait to get. It's such a good year for gaming, man. Like, I'm genuinely excited. So all the console warring aside, it feels good. It feels such a good year. There's something for everyone this year. And can I just quickly talk about a game that you guys need to play, which is the finals, the open beta. I don't know if it's still active, but this is a special game. This feels different. This feels unique. Even Zorka was saying that, and Zorka's a piece of shit. But Zorka, I see you in chat, but he was saying the same thing. This is different. And the destruction, the game looks beautiful. It runs really smooth. The way the classes work, and it just feels nice, man. Traversal. I'm being dying to get my teeth into a good multiplayer game. I've got Halo now. I can't play fighters anymore. I have to forsake Street Fighter 6 because I'm going to be shit on that game forever because there's so many good games. I see chat mentioning Robocop. Robocop looks mad. BG shared some gameplay of that on Twitter. Robocop looks I'm telling you, that's the kind of AA dumb fun game, like, is bringing gaming back to what I liked in the PS1, PS2 days, man. Like, it was just nice, man. So, yeah, Robocop, I'm definitely trying that. Got to do that. But yeah, man, this is just a beautiful, incredible year for gaming. I know. We'll talk about it later. But let's talk about the layoffs. Like, someone was saying, "Oh, it's a bad year because of the layoffs," and it seems like a bit of a virtue signaling statement. But you have to understand, like, it's not nice being a developer in that state and you have mass layoffs. But as a gamer, like, you have so much choice, and it's going to be it's just a great year. And next year, apparently, based on my cursory glance at that, next year is going to be amazing too. Surely you feel it, Asa. Even in your niche VR space, maybe it's not gone where you want it to, or maybe it has. Well, I don't know. You tell me.
VR hasn't
Do you feel
yet,
the source?
Outside of that, gaming in general, it is difficult to reconcile the massive success and the quality of games and the year that we've had in terms of content with what is going on behind the scenes and with all of these layoffs that are industry-wide and causing havoc for a lot of people. It's difficult to really anticipate the impact that's going to have, because typically in the gaming industry, you reap what you sow like 4 or 5 years later. So at the moment, we're reaping the benefits of this massive industry inflation that happened when gaming picked up a few years ago. And that's probably like a contributing factor to all of the games that we're getting. We had essentially a blocked pipeline. We had a whole load of games in the works. COVID came along, put a little stopper in there, but the industry expanded in that time. So you had a pipeline of games flooded with extra resource, and the payoff for that is quality games that we've got now. So we might have a pain point 2 or 3 years down the line where all of these layoffs mean that we don't hit these highs again, but time will tell, and I'm sure it will pick up and rectify. It's strange to look at from the outside and see
There is a tinge of guilt there.
Hand in hand. Mm-hmm.
I mean, just taking that further, right? So you're right. That's essentially what happened, is especially when we went to the pandemic, right? People started playing a lot of games. Unfortunately, it was also very difficult to release games because, well, your folks are at home, right? So the live games could potentially just keep putting out more seasons, right? It's a little easier to just change a few things. Maybe the content didn't come with it as much, but at least you had seasons. It kept people engaged while there was a dearth of actual game releases, right? This year has been the opposite, right? There's so many games. It's hard to say, okay, I can actually play all the games that came out, even the big major ones. And then you have these live games and you're like, well, I don't have to play that. I could go play Hogwarts. I could go play Final Fantasy 16 or Alan Wake. There's just, you can keep naming all these freaking big games. Here's the game, on and on and on and on, right? There's so many, and you're like, well, okay, well, that's going to take time for something, right? So those live games, almost all of them have been coming down a bit, right? I mean, it was going to happen across the industry as we come out of the COVID lockdowns anyways, as people start doing other activities, right? So that was going to happen anyways, and we all saw that. There was some downsizing, just like as far as revenue for a lot of of the gaming industry. And then on top of that, a lot of the live games just this year have started to get a hit, right? Because there's so many other games to play. Eventually, your time is your time, right? If like, GaaS, you wanted to play Apex and you were playing Apex all the time, but like, dude, I'm going to go play Alan Wake now. I'm going to go play, Spider-Man or Spoderman, as you call it. Whatever it is, right? Or Tears of the Kingdom. There's so many different opportunities now. It's like, well, Apex might take a hit, right? And if that happens, well, your engagement plus your spending on it goes down with it, right? And so you're seeing even, Fortnite engagement is down. You see, and they also are struggling.
Fortnite's actually not, which is really weird. Fortnite is its busiest ever right now. But
I don't know. They're laying people
because
they're saying that their revenue is down, right? They're saying their revenue is down, and they're starting to pull back, and they're laying people off. They laid off quite a few, if memory serves. But and then you have the same with Bungie, right? And again, like, part of it might be that Lightfall, was that the last one, was not very well received, but it didn't matter. It actually was still doing pretty well until all these other games started coming out, and they're like, okay, well, the engagement kind of started falling. I would kind of expect it. There is the potential that there's also like fatigue of that model potentially, but I don't know if that's really the case, right? So this, the seasons and free to play model with a lot of microtransactions and whatnot, maybe that model is kind of slipping, but I think it is just more. We're finally getting all those games we were promised, and there's just too much to play, and right. So it's splitting time. How much are you going to spend in Call of Duty Warzone versus how much you're going to spend in Alan Wake, right, or Spider-Man, right? And so people are just they're just being inundated with games, right? And I don't know if that slows down or not, but
Fortnite in particular, and this isn't undermining your point in any way whatsoever. It's just a curiosity because Fortnite is an exception, but as of yesterday, 5.8 million concurrent players, the highest it's ever had.
Yeah, but they're not spending, right? I guess whatever it is, because they're saying their revenue is down, and they're laying people off. Epic, right? So
Epic are definitely
there's some reason that's happening, right? And so whatever that is, whatever the switch is there, that's happening, right? So I don't know what that means and why, if they have that many people playing, why aren't they spending? Maybe they're playing very little. They're playing, but they're not playing as much. And they're pushing off to other things.
I think they're spending a fair amount, but not enough to cover the lawsuit with Apple and Google.
That's a funny one. But I mean, it is kind of industry wide, isn't it? Just like, so I wouldn't just say, hey, look at Sony and Bungie, and it's just Bungie's fault. I think this is kind of a normal trend, and it might just be that, hey, look, there's too much out there. Like how you have to split your time, and you're like, well, I don't know if I'm going to keep playing Destiny every night if I'm going to also play other games. There's just time constraints. It just is what it is, right? So I'm guessing some of that there also might be some validity to like Destiny itself. Their story arc has been kind of moving towards the end of that story arc, and there might be a drop off of people who are like, well, I'm not as invested in it anymore, and I'm gonna go find the next thing, right? That's another possibility. Fortnite, by the way, seems to be an answer for a lot of those Destiny people, especially since they took away build mode, right? You can play with just normal, what's that mode? Battle Royale.
Zero build. Right?
So
The main thing. Oh, zero build one, yeah.
Yeah, the no build battle royale, right? So, so look, it could just be that is what's happening here. It's an interesting time from a Bungie perspective itself. Now, their layoffs are more interesting, or their quality level is more interesting, right? As far as like they're being asked to help Sony while continuing to make their own games, and as we've seen with live games, it's hard to do it right. It's hard to do it without the number of people you need. And if you keep pulling those, the talent and saying, I need you to help Naughty Dog or whoever, right? Well, that's going to pull from your team, right? It is what it is. So your game is going to have to suffer somewhat. There's just no way out of that.
I was going to bring this up later, but now that you're discussing it, I might as well just transition into that topic. So we've got Bungie's layoffs. So surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but it was pretty surprisingly, Bungie laid off 8% of its staff on Monday, around 100 people. Jason Schreier from Bloomberg reported this. 2 weeks ago, staff were told that they were projected to miss revenue targets by 45%. Employees were galvanized to get things on track. And then came the surprise layoff. Employees being galvanized to get things on track sounds exactly like how Yves Guillemot was sending that infamous email to Ubisoft that really made people, or the employees of Ubisoft, really pissed off, and they leaked, and where he was saying, look, guys, we need to just double down and get stuff thing, otherwise we'll have to make difficult decisions, which is basically what Bungie had done internally.
It is such a stupid statement from leadership that, hey, all of you need to do something. Your leader. It's your job to figure out how to make the money.
It's the wording in that one. It was just like, look, it's all on you. No, it's all on you. No, it's on you, you dumb leaders.
The leader's job, right? To figure out how to make the market happen, where are we failing, and how to make it so that we can get back into our marketable position, dumb. Right?
Exactly.
It's not the art designer's fault. Like, it's just not. Well, you need to tell them what you want to get done. Where are you going? How is this going to work? These are just the dumbest things. Even telling like all the 20,000 employees, oh, you need to make no. It's your job to make it happen. Yeah. Go get your exec team together and figure out how you're going to make it better. That is a dumb freaking statement. But
so Brad in the chat, who's graced us with his presence, says this, and this is not even. You'd think this was a parody of himself, but he's actually being serious. This is an actual comment from him. This story hasn't been verified. Otherwise, we are speaking about pure conjecture. Well done. Thank you for that incredible hindsight. That word conjecture seems to be stapled in the front of your brain and in the insides of your asshole. But
did Jason Schreier say this? Was it Jason?
Jason Schreier said this, and it's all conjecture.
I'm willing to trust you. He's usually been right. Okay, so whatever it is, he's usually been right. So I'm willing to trust Jason.
It's such a fucking. Well, okay. Either way, layoffs have happened. Yes or no? Did the staff get on Twitter and explain that they've been let go? Yes or no? Have you seen their staff applying for jobs in LinkedIn? Yes or no? So it's just fucking stupid. Anyway. The layoffs came directly from Bungie management, not Sony. So there was this, issue that Sony have done it. Now that, PlayStation's acquired them, they're going to cut people off. And, well, we'll talk about that in a bit, because Bungie leadership, in February of last year, they said they assured employees Sony's deal would not result in layoffs or restructuring. Lo and behold, here we have this happening. And the way it went about, and the staff, layoffs are bad anyway, but the sudden nature of it is something I think people need to be aware of, and how that could take a toll on the mental health of any person working under the way it worked is really bad. So the layoffs came from Bungie management, and most employee benefits only last until the end of the month. So they just let go literally last day of the month, or just a couple of days of the month. So laying off people on the 30th meant an additional day of coverage. They just wanted to just cut it out. There were some issues about unvested shares, which I won't get into. But many Bungie employees found out they were fired in that morning. They were locked out of all the services. Imagine you get in there, email access revoked, logins
that's
revoked.
Normal. That's just normal corporate structure, right? When you're laid off or terminated, all that stuff gets locked out. That's pretty normal.
Yeah.
The benefits thing is pretty crazy, right? They're not Bungie employees. They're not Bungie employees. They're Sony employees. That means Sony has no benefits.
They operate independently.
Process. It doesn't matter, right? They get paid by Sony no matter what. They were bought by them. Those are Sony employees, right? They operate independently.
Do they get paid by Sony?
They have to. That's the way it is, right? They're Sony employees. So, if they're gonna, if that's how their benefits package works, that's pretty bad. I mean, it's just a bad place to work at. You usually have some sort of severance that usually goes along with these kind of layoffs, right? Even if it's a few weeks or something like that, that you just get, hey, at least you're gonna get like a month of pay and your benefits for medical and whatnot continue, right? That's just a pretty nasty thing to do. Like, hey, you one day, have fun, goodbye, right? Like that. That's just
but the sudden nature of it is very unusual.
That's common. That's pretty common.
But many team managers were not told about who on their team was going to be laid off.
Massive layoffs, that happens.
And only found out as it happened. So, and they were told not to talk to other people there anyway. They would communicate.
That's a usual thing as well.
That's usual as well. Yeah, but it's just like mass corporate layoff
and
coming.
It's not just Bungie, right? And so look, if you look at this pattern, right? If you we have the conjecture of, did Jim Ryan actually retire or not? Ever since that October switchover, where right, well, I mean, to my guess, I'm pretty much like 90% he was fired. But so I think he was fired. But since that October switchover, a lot of their studios have started doing layoffs, right? And that's just reality, right? It's not just Bungie. Others have also had layoffs. Yeah. And if you start looking at that, you say, well, the guy that came in as the head is a finance guy, right, from parent company, and is looking to say, well, where are we making money, where are we not? How do we cut our costs, right? This usually happens, by the way. A finance type person comes in, usually in leadership. That usually means you're trying to make things more efficient, make things more profitable. That's usually what that means. I mean, Jim Ryan was one of those guys, right? But he somehow also made games, I guess. But that's what's happening, right? And so it could be that, yes, Bungie management made the decision of what they're going to do as far as who's going away, but it could also be that corporate told them, you need to fix where you are, right? If you're telling us all these other games as a service games aren't going to be good enough, that's fine. But you were supposed to be the golden goose that gives us all this extra money. And what you're showing is you're not. And so you need to then go fix it and figure out how you're going to become profitable again, right? So this is just corporate standard stuff, right? This is just corporate standard stuff. And so, yes, it might be that Bungie leadership went and actually made the decision of who stays, who goes. But I'm sure there was a conversation had all the way to upper management.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way that didn't happen.
Your bottom line, you're not actually giving us any money. You were supposed to give us like $500 million in extra.
What is that?
So I mean, it is what it is.
It's a
right?
corporate guy. Yeah, that's a very good one.
Right? Like, so we were supposed to get a bottom line, net profit from you. Where is that? And you're telling us that you're going to be at shortfall or something like that. Well, that's not what we're expecting, right? So, so I'm sure, yes, it was Bungie management who decided who was going to go, but I'm pretty sure there was a conversation that was beyond Bungie management. That's just my
absolutely.
thoughts. I think that's what happened.
This is high level,
I think
like,
this is a high level PlayStation, because you got all these studios suddenly starting to lay off ever since October started, and that's surprisingly that's when we had the new guy start as the chair.
Interim.
Right, he's not interim CEO yet, but he's like the chairman of the board or something of PlayStation, and Jim Ryan is still the CEO, kind of, sort of, until April. But yeah, since that switchover has happened, they've been doing all sorts of different things, right?
I mean, ultimately, in the immediacy of things, and why this is so relevant is because Sony is making this substantial pivot towards GaaS, and you've got Bungie. Well,
we will see if that continues.
Well, that's a good question or good statement, is what I wanted to allude to. But Asa, it sounds like this pivot might not. Isn't it odd that Bungie gets bought for this big chunk of money, a substantial amount of which is a retention fee, then you still let go of that, or Bungie let go of the staff, but Bungie also cancel or put on ice the Last of Us factions, and now there's also, and again, it's conjecture, so don't lose your shit, but it is these are where there's smoke, there's fire. So we've had, where has it gone? I had the source. It was the, so a YouTuber called Astacross who claimed that Bungie's had Escape from Tarkov streamers actually played Marathon in its early stages, and they seemed disinterested. Now, again, it's conjecture if it's true or not, but also I think it was Bloomberg also said that the games have been set back. So 2 of the live service games have been set back. And then there's this question of, will Sony abandon it all? In my trademark fashion, I've asked you a trillion things. Even I don't know what the question is. But you get the idea that, well, what's happening? Do you expect a U-turn from Sony? Is it weird? Talk to me.
Yeah, it's really challenging from the outside to know because we're missing pivotal bits of information. Whereas, so we hear about Connie Booth leaving, and we hear that there's contention over whether studios should be working on GaaS games and whether they shouldn't. But we don't actually know what side of that argument Connie was on. She might have been the one that instigated the whole move in the first place, or she might have been resistant to it. She might have been pushing back against it. We don't know. It seems very likely that Jim Ryan was in favour of games as a service, but we don't know for sure what side of those conversations that he was on, and we don't know any of that about any of the people and the personnel within PlayStation. Bungie's acquisition, valuation, and all the rest of it is quite difficult to look at and kind of comprehend why they went for so much. If apparently all of this stuff, there was quite a lot of foresight and quite a lot was already known about the difficulties that they were having with their live service, that they weren't going to hit these targets and all the rest of it at the point that Sony acquired them. So you'd have to question that. That seems like if you know that this company is not doing so well, you wouldn't then buy them and say, please advise us on how to not do so well as well. That would be brilliant. We'd love to have some of that failure. So there's a lot of oddity around the conjecture. I'll say that much. In terms of like layoffs and things, I don't think that Jim Ryan was fired myself, because I don't think they would keep him in the capacity that they have kept him until April if he was doing a terrible job for them, and I don't think he has done a terrible job for them by the numbers. I do think that he wanted out for various reasons, partly time in the job, age, travel, stress, all the rest of it, and maybe perhaps he just didn't fancy the challenging waters that are clearly ahead, the changes that are coming to the gaming industry. Maybe he's looking at that and saying to himself, like, I'm not the right person to steer this ship anymore. I think that's just as believable as any other side of that story where he's not there.
He knows he's
industry-wide though. Well, the bit that I find really interesting, like, is there are layoffs everywhere, like from Epic to EA to Ubisoft to pretty much everyone. So it's really nice to see Larian say Baldur's Gate 3 did really well. As a result of that, we get to keep making games like this and keep all our staff on and maybe hire some more. And that is like a big mark against consolidation. When you get to see independent studios who don't answer to corporate boards and shareholders in quite the same way, it's an interesting contrast, I think. But
well, I mean, that's only because that game did well. Because normally most of those studios don't do well. Take Obsidian, whose games always seem to have challenges from outside, right? Even though their games were great, right? And they've always struggled to be able to keep doing what they need to do. So
yeah, you don't get second chances now.
The fair counter, like Bungie is the fair counter, because if you believe everything that's coming out of that studio, Bungie would be at massive risk now if they weren't acquired. So there's definitely downsides to the independent approach as well, and advantages to that. The security that comes with being acquired by a big corporate overlord. So both ways there.
Yeah. Shabs, you always fucking do. Let me read these super chats before we go in. So we got Jean-Marc Louis with a $2 super chat. Thank you, man. He goes, Phil and ABK bamboozled Jim. He paid for the DLC source. We'll talk about Call of Duty in a bit. Your baby father, who blocked IGN or is blocked by IGN, he says ponies allowed on Twitter, but casuals run that platform. Ooh, so... They only want to play Madden, MLB, Fortnite, and Spider-Man, and the occasional third-party banger. It's not enough. Incendiary chat. What do you make of what your baby father had said there? God Emperor Sofa King. Thank you for being a member.
I think that's one of the other big ones, but anyway.
I maybe mentioned that in there. But yeah, COD is going to be an interesting one as well for various reasons. We'll talk about that. God Emperor Sofa King, he says, Brap, is the 8% of people being laid off? Is the 8% of people being laid off? Conjecture you and... There you go. And the Andrew, yeah, it's not. It's not conjecture. The Andrew 13 with a $2 super chat. Thank you. Because Shady Spot is taking the unvested stock back. I said that and I said it sounded weird, but someone told me that's actually pretty standard that the unvested stock gets relinquished even if you don't leave the company out of your own volition. So if you get
Standard
fired.
doesn't make it okay though, right? Standard doesn't.
It doesn't. It sounds so
that 1.2
bad that I thought it would be
for
illegal.
all of the staff for staff retention, and yeah, it's apparently the unvested shares go back to Bungie, so that's a dick move.
It's weird. We fire you and we take our shares back, and but apparently that is standard. And I thought that was the thing that struck me, and then people are like, that's actually pretty standard in the tech industry, which says a lot about the tech industry. It's horrible. That precedent needs to change, and this is where the unionization may help. I don't know. Shabs Inevitable with a £10 super chat. Thank you, Shabs, for being a member with the purple icon, Bleds. He says, I'm here to say Kupo. Hit that like button. Thanks for reminding me. 553 people there. Smash it. Smash it. Yeah, Mr. B stole it from me. That quote. Just to kind of round that topic up, you're right. We are hearing that Sony actually apparently saved Bungie because Bungie was such dire straits, and there's that element of it. I find the truth will be kind of in the middle there somewhere. I don't think Bungie would ever struggle, and they got bought out for a princely sum. And that, to me, suggests that they had some chips in their bargaining position to angle a $3+ billion acquisition for a company that's struggling.
It's probably fair to say, though, if they were independent, then whatever struggles they're facing, they would have less to mitigate it. So it would probably be, at the very least, it would be more layoffs, you would think. But
yeah. Isn't it funny, though? Isn't it funny? So it looks like... based on what the people who have left, they're blaming senior leadership again to see this badly run again. This is just like 343. So I was talking to Cole. I'm like, this is probably why Microsoft didn't put much resistance in allowing them to go independent, because it seems like it's leadership issues as well. And then they had Activision, and Activision is, they're not exactly great with Bobby Kotick going there. But again, they leave them. That doesn't work. And then they go independent. Sony buys them, and they're already again having problems. And we hear conjecture that Marathon may not be that good, yet they made Naughty Dog go back to the drawing board with potentially with the factions. Seems like this company is very invasive, has a lot of pull.
Fuck the financials, that's boring. Marathon, is that game interesting to you?
The premise of it, I've never played I held it I never had a PC that could play it. I always wanted to play it. I had the magazines, and just look at it. It just looked nice. It's like back then, where that kind of game was amazing to me. But I thought, and we said this on the show, that the association or the choice to use that word, because that IP, does carry, may not be as relevant today, but is significant. Marathon is legendary. It'll go in the annals of the gaming history as a big IP or a classic one. For them to bring it back, I thought there's going to be something, surely some intent to make this good. And then it was multiplayer live service only, and I'm thinking, ooh, that's a bit weird, but fine. I still give them the benefit of the doubt. I do want it to be good, but when I say good, I think Marathon needs to be exceptional. That's the name of that's my association without even playing Marathon. These weird, what was it? Exploratory point click. Look at the Stonehenge in space.
So, not what it needs to be though, but knowing Bungie's pedigree and what the game is, are you looking forward to it? Is it on your radar as an exciting prospect?
I'm 50-50 because of the manner in which they handled PvP in Destiny. This is a PvP game. Destiny 2, I didn't play it because I boycotted it because of, when it came out, getting shot around corners. The netcode is weird. It didn't do much of a change from Destiny 1 to 2. So I like the ideas of Destiny, but the execution for the multiplayer PvP side was shit. So I'm just like, can I be excited for it? Am I allowed to be when the last PvP didn't even pull me enough to break my stand against this game? I don't know. But Bungie are talented. They made fucking Halo, man. So I can't ignore it. So it's weird.
Well, they made Halo along with other people that are no longer at that studio, but
that's true.
I'll give you my answer to that is no. So to me, at Marathon, what they showed me was we're gonna have a bunch of colorful characters that you can have different skins, because that's how they're gonna monetize, and it's just PvP. That's it. And I'm like, this is just not entertaining to me. Give me firefight. Give me with Destiny you had raids, right? So there's got to be something beyond just player versus player. I'm surprised that's their next game. I would have expected it to be another in that chain of here's a story that goes with it, here's a campaign, and yes, there's multiplayer, right? But they're choosing to just forego that whole thing and then just have this colorful multiplayer only thing, which to me just says we're making a game as a service game. We're going to sell you a whole bunch of different colored skins that are going to make your character unique. Okay, because that literally that's all that showed to me, right? I'm like, why don't I just play Destiny? I can do that, play PvP if it's gonna be the same bloody thing, right? Or
that's
the game that I still love, Halo. Right? Halo still plays really well, and it's still being made. And Halo Infinite, the gameplay is fantastic, and the netcode needs some work, fair enough, but it's still fantastic. The game loop is great. I love it. So, what are they gonna do to entice me to play that next game when it doesn't have any of the modes that I would want? It's just PvP. And it's well, okay. So it never resonated with me. I thought that was just meh. I gave them benefit of the doubt. It's Bungie. Maybe they know what they're doing here, and they're gonna come up with something cool. Great, but I gotta be equally honest. Destiny very much disappointed me. Right, I went into it pre-ordered. This Bungie, it's gonna be great. It's Halo, right? Okay, cool. Right,
no, I was disappointed. Massively. I spent a lot of days playing that game because I wanted it, but what they promised and what that game was,
What was that game? There's no story.
So
I don't care about the protagonist at all. What is this game, right? And
the lore is really good, but this is the same Halo.
If you go outside of the game,
exactly.
or
Halo
if you start playing all the battle passes and what, I'm like, dude, no. I paid you $60 for the game. I expect a game, and I got nothing. And then Destiny 2 was, the story was a little bit better, but still, it never felt to me what Halo did. Halo, I got hooked immediately.
Halo was a moment in gaming.
Destiny, holy crap, right? It just didn't feel the same to me with either one of those games. So I don't know if they can do that again, if they can come up with something equivalent. Destiny has certainly done massive amounts for the gaming industry as far as making a live game that works. It's just a fact, right? Because everybody started copying all that. Right?
It depends on the value, how much value. I think it's bastardized it when an industry could have taken a more
in its own
deeper
ways, it can be good or bad,
approach.
right? But a lot of companies copy that model, and we have a whole bunch of live games after that, right? So fair enough, right? It did its thing, but I've never liked it. I've never gone back to it. I played the campaigns for both of those games. I've tried the raid a couple of times. I'm like, this is just not for me. And try the PvP. I've tried it a couple. I'm like, don't forget it. I'm all set. So it, for the people who love it, great. That's awesome. And it's if you get every one of the season passes, and you'll get all this story, and you can't go back to the old ones because they're stupid. And so you have to have it every single time. You had to have bought it to actually get the story. I'm like, dude, come on. I paid you $60. Why didn't I just get the story? So whatever. It's a very odd choice. So I'm not excited for Marathon at all. Right? It never really seemed like it was going to be. There's no story at all. So I'm not going to be vested in anything. Right? It's just going to be.
So the story is quite important to you. The PvP centric. And I think that's a lot of people will be put off by that. But Asa, you asked this question. Oh, sorry,
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. Well, I was going to say it was the gameplay loop is cool. I have to give them that. Bungie knows how to make a gameplay loop. The gunfighting in that is fantastic. It's awesome, right? But
that's why they're so good.
Is that enough?
It can be, but I do kind of partially agree with you. I feel like a story-based Marathon and making multiplayer only. Asa, you asked this question. What is your take on how excited you are and the premise of this game.
The trailer didn't do anything for me, and I don't particularly like that it's reviving an IP that's seemingly completely unrelated to what they're building now. But I do think that extraction shooters as a multiplayer like subgenre of game are ripe for a good one. And I do think that Bungie, it's hard to say how much of their talent is still there and who's responsible for what and all the rest of it. But one thing that Destiny really did have going for it is fantastic art and fantastic shooting. And if they can retain that and they can do fantastic shooting and do a game that's stylish in the way that Destiny is, then there's hope that they make something really, really interesting to me. I don't like Destiny as a game is full of dark patterns. It's horrible. It's full of like daily bounties and crap like that and engrams and all the rest of it. So the way that Bungie monetize, I'm not a fan of, and that's one of the main things that puts me off of going anywhere near Destiny, is that Destiny demands that it has all of my time and that I keep on playing. I log on every day and do these 10 boring things and whatever else. I'm not a fan of that. But if they can rise above that and deliver an extraction shooter, there's a lot of potential there. This Final's an extraction shooter. I didn't play the beta.
Kind of. Yes, you basically extract money and just bank it. That's the game mode I did. But there may be an extraction element of it, chat. But that's the one I did. I just thought, because I had no team, and teamwork is needed here. 3 versus 3 versus 3. Sorry, I'm going into the finals now. But yeah. You know, I agree with you. The thing is, the art style, like based on this, we only saw CGI, but you know, CGI can tell you a lot about. I've always had this conversation. Nick must say, because oh, you like CGI now. I'm like, but I've always liked CGI, but in my story, not to show off a game. But still, even with David, King David, I was arguing about the value of CGI. I said Redfall and the CGI could tell a lot about the game. And I love CGI in my videos. I use it a lot. And in this one, I actually really liked Marathon's CGI trailer. Stylistically, it looked really cool. I love that kind of stuff. And I'm just like everything's a white silhouette, like weird, like. Even like you could tell the manner in which, well, it depends on the gameplay implementation, but based on that trailer, it was just it looked like a lower time to kill shooter because there was one sniper shot dead, just like quickly dying. The people were dying quickly, whereas you know with the Halo, there's a high time to kill armor and shields and whatnot. So is this going to be a quick TTK kind of COD style like you're playing it here now? That's actually, I love this trailer in terms of the creative side of it, like. In terms of gameplay ramping, it doesn't tell you that much, but I think this is a beautiful CGI trailer. Like, this is one of the best CGI, like, artistically. Like, you remember Far Cry, the last one? They had a trailer that had told a story and the vibe of it was really cool. I had this invoked the same kind of feelings. I know, but what's this Destiny planet with a ship smashed into it? It's almost like, fuck you, Destiny. Here is a ship smashed into a planet. But then I look at that, it makes me want to play this. It makes me want to have a story in this. And I think, Hargeet, you're right, that taking away the story, especially with Marathon, it kind of sucks away a lot of the hype. Like, there's a ceiling now on how good this game could be.
Like Tomb Raider. We're going to reboot Tomb Raider. It's multiplayer only. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? Why would you do that? Right?
It looks so good, actually. I love
Halo
this
seasons
trailer,
have a story. I need to just curiosity. Like Halo Infinite, if you separate the campaign from the multiplayer does try to tell a story, doesn't it? Do you follow that at all? Is that done well?
They did it for the first couple of seasons and then stopped, right? So now they're not even doing that.
Yeah, there's a big fail.
And the stories there were just very minimal. It wasn't really intended to be anything massive. I'm still waiting on the campaign part. I want to know what happens with the campaign. They certainly ended the campaign on a cliffhanger, which, I mean, that's fine. But I'm looking for what's next. What is the next campaign thing for Halo? But that campaign still had me interested in what's happening, right? And like the character development was there. Yes, it ended sort of like okay, but there was something there. There was a story. It was something useful. Like I just this is if there's no story, it's just like okay, here we go again. To me, that's Destiny, because that's what Destiny was. It was pointless. That entire campaign was pointless, and that's if there's no. They're just saying, oh, we're just not even going to bother because it was pointless anyway. We're just going to do the multiplayer part only. Okay. Right,
I feel like I feel like there's a big loss there.
There is to me.
Not exploring that. Let me read these super chats. Yeah, Face, I'll get back.
Get this other one, by the way? There was one from a random guy comments. GaaS.
Yeah, I've got it. I've got it here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I've got it here. I've got your baby father with a $5 super chat. I blocked the zealots at IGN, and I suggest others do too. I should have read that when I was introducing COD, which I will in a bit, your baby. But there's some conversations to have there. Shab's inevitable with the $5 super chat. Ace's reaction to Kupo is worth it. I just look, that's all I do is look at Ace's like weird face. Andrew 13 with the $2. Sorry, Ace, with the $2 super chat. Argentina has 125% and Turkey is 62% inflation year on year. This is in response to Phase 23. Brooklyn, New York's $20 super chat, always generous with those. Besides Brazil, Microsoft also increased Game Pass's price in Turkey and Argentina up to 100%, depending on the subscription tier to which Andrew applied. That it's based on inflation, but it's still not great. Okay, it's just like those price hikes on these services, still not as bad as Sony's one, right? All across the board. What are you going to say about that, Face? What are you going to say about that? Your baby father with a $5 super chat. Bungie doesn't move the need. Hey, Face, I need to talk to you about Quantum Alan Wake 2. You always tag me when Digital Foundry do a little thing there, but you didn't tag me with the Alan Wake 2 one. Why? But your baby father with a $5 super chat. Bungie doesn't move the needle for Sony. That money could have been better spent elsewhere. The thing that aged or seems to have aged really badly is, and you were mocking this as well, Asa, was Jim Ryan's quote where he says the $3.6 billion spent on Bungie gives PlayStation way more value than if they bought Activision. And that just does not look like it's aged even worse or badly in light of this news, or I guess the jury's going to be out in whenever Marathon comes out. But yeah, I mean,
that question is like, of course you're going to ask, have they got good value for that money when they bought the studio and things just seem to be going wrong? But
well, the pressure increases on Marathon. And PlayStation guys who will say, you cancel factions, let's have a look at your game. And they'll be pissed because it's multi-platform anyway. So there's this animosity as well. And there's not much loyalty with Bungie within the PlayStation camp. And then Bungie going to feel the pressure from their own little pony stables. And then they'll want to go independent again. A random guy comments with the $7 Canadian. Halo was a thunderstorm in a bottle that launched a console. We're all chasing a high, especially a nostalgic one. Not only did it just launch a console, it made a brand viable. So yes, absolutely. But Halo 1 wasn't just a lone wolf in that. Halo 2 moved console online gaming to a whole new level. It wasn't even like people. I remember the days like seriously, like people like. Console would never. PC gamer. I used to be like PC. I used to play on everything, and PC gamer was always to scoff at console gaming online. Like it'll never be serious. Like Counter-Strike, and then Halo comes along, and it pisses a lot of people, hardcore loyalists off because it does it very well. Lo and behold, come to the future, and it's MLG consoles. Everything is Source. Well, the PC is still where the sources. Dead Planet with a $5 super chat. Jaffe went on Colin's show and said Sony's current trajectory / lack of upcoming games is setting Microsoft to 360 them in the next console cycle. Ooh, why not this console cycle, Dead Planet? But it's funny for Colin Moriarty to say that. Do you know why? Because he's scared.
Wait, did Colin say that or did Jaffe say that?
Jaffe, actually, you're right. Sorry, I misread that, Dead Planet. You're right. Thank you, Hargeet, for making me taking my foot out of my mouth. Jaffe right? said it. Yeah, Jaffe said it.
I wonder what Colin's response is. I'm gonna have to look at that one. I'm gonna watch that.
Writhing around is like throwing holy water at him. And the Exorcist, like that's what he probably felt like when Jaffe was telling the truth. Your baby father with the $2. I'm such a dick. With the $2 super chat. New WoW mobile games will print money for Microsoft, and I might as well go to. Well, there's so much to talk about, right? This is going the opposite way of where my conversations are. But your baby, let's just quickly talk about BlizzCon, because there's a lot more topics as well. So BlizzCon happened yesterday. So tuned in. You don't usually tune in that seriously today. This time, it was with Xbox. This is an Xbox showcase, so of course I'm gonna watch it. Well, yeah, and then you realize one facet of this Blizzard element that people like down because everyone's focused on COD. You see how big Blizzard is and how crazy it is, and the show was like weird, but saved by this guy who saved. Wow, what was his name? He's like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like he comes on stage, everyone loves him up, and I'm like, I shared it on Twitter. I'm like, this guy looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Why are these people loving him up so much? And people told me, chat, if you know who his name is, he said he made
Chris Metzen.
Wow, World of Warcraft. That's it, Edson. He basically made Edson.
Metzen, Chris Metzen.
Metzen. Chris Metzen. Chris Metzen saved Warcraft. Now, you're a big Blizzard fan, and he's all good things. Apparently, Blizzard. Can you just give a history on who Chris Metzen is? Did he leave? Come back? And also, how you feel about the announcement of 3 expansions announced at the same time, and Cataclysm Classic and all that shit.
Well, I don't follow executives very closely, so I can't give you a very thorough reading of who Chris Metzen is, but he is one of the leaders of World of Warcraft as it came about in the first place, and he voices several characters, I think. So he's kind of a celebrity within the Warcraft community, or the World of Warcraft community at the very least. And yes, he left for a while, and it is quite a big surprise that they've managed to pull him back in at this point. And quite a good one in terms of the potential to steer Warcraft back to what people used to love about it. Because World of Warcraft is obviously a freaking huge game that's run for a freaking long time and has had a lot of people stop playing it in that time. There's more people that have played Warcraft and stopped than there are that actually play Warcraft. So if they can tap into like nostalgia and make those people think they're going to get back what it is that they used to play so much all those years ago, then they're onto a winner, and Chris Metzen represents that for them. So a lot of people are looking at this going, wow, World of Warcraft is going back to whatever my favourite expansion was. And this CGI trailer looks neat. It's quite... I've got a fair amount that I could say about World of Warcraft, so I'm not going to right now. We'll see where the conversation goes, but that's Chris Metzen.
I mean, okay, so this CGI trailer looks amazing. I don't know. I don't follow the story that well, and this made me want to like kind of watch a story. I wish the CGI supplemented, but I wish WoW had cutscenes in the story when you're leveling up. That would be a great. I mean, this would take years to render anyway, because these things are rendered at next level. But can you tell me, like, there was a scene I immediately recognized when Wrath of the Lich King's expansion came out. The trailers are an event. They're so good. And in Wrath of the Lich King, the king just like pulls up his sword up on the screen like that, and a really cool, iconic like shot. And he does the same thing. Is this the old Lich King or something? Oh, I thought he's a Lion's guy.
No, he's not. He's so when did you play it? You played it when
I played Burning Crusade. Lich King stopped at
do you know what?
Cataclysm.
I'm not going to tell you who it is. It's Anduin Wrynn, and he was the son of the king at the point that you played it, and he was there in Stormwind as a child at that point in time. But it does touch on something that's that I find quite difficult about World of Warcraft, and that is that storytelling in a massively multiplayer online RPG is really, really tricky. And it used to be that it would be very hard to tell any kind of personal story because everybody is going on these same missions and doing the same thing, and everyone in the world is the hero. And the way that games handle it now, that I'm not a massive fan of, but some people might be, is like this, where you see a trailer like this, an epic trailer with Anduin Wrynn and Thrall, and your character is like a heroic spectator. This story's going on, but it's not you. It's these celebrity characters within the world. And Final Fantasy XIV does it very much so as well. So you play like heroic bystander that's like helping out a little bit as these heroes do the cool stuff and tell the cool story, which is a curious problem for online games. And I don't know what the answer is. Like, does it make you want to play it though? Because it is trying to capture that single player storytelling experience. And the way that they've done it is to say your character's just whatever.
Yeah, no, it does make me want to play it, man. Like, bro, I was not interested in it, you know me, anything but classic. I didn't like the way they changed the models and looked a little bit more cartoony. Even when they were showing the Cataclysm, like, classic trailer. Compare that to the Cataclysm actual at the time trailer and the classic one. And like even what's the freaking dragon's name? What's his name? Oh, whatever. I'm sorry?
Deathwing.
Deathwing, that's it. Deathwing looks cartoony in the new trailer. It looks like a way more. And the other one, it looks so menacing, and the time it must have taken to render, even to this day, the quality of that CGI is top tier. The flames, do you see the details of the flames after Deathwing is going around over barons, splitting in half of the absolute... I love the barons until he... That's why I didn't play freaking Cataclysm for too long. But yeah, like, I don't know, like... I want to play this game. It seems really epic. It seems why announce 3? Like they talked about Titans. I'm like, in space there's huge figures. Like, okay, this is going into some next level freaking mode, and I love that kind of story. But I don't like orcs and shit as well, so it's weird. Like, what the fuck is that sword? It's huge. It's the size of a freaking country, and I'm intrigued. Like, what? It's so...
You missed that, though. That story that's already
yes.
happened. Which is another challenge for if you are one of these players. So when I said that stuff about Chris Metzen earlier, and there being like legions and legions of players like you that have their point in time where they remember World of Warcraft, where they're fond of it, trying to get them back into it, and this vibe that it's going to be like you remember it. But you're asking about this sword now, and this sword was the ending of one of the expansion packs that you've missed and not played. So they've got that challenge of trying to get people like you back into it to pick up a story that's been ongoing that you haven't actually been watching. So.
This is the first time I'm interested in... I mean, I've been interested in WoW story here and there, and I found out that we lost Undercity, the Horde. I say we. We lost the Undercity. That's disgusting. That's what I was. I was an undead warlock. Bro, gamers, console gamers, you may have not played WoW, yeah? It may be laborious in some of the things, but I have not played a game that felt like an actual world like I played WoW. Like, I would go into Ashenvale as a Horde, and it felt... like exposed and like, oh shit. Then other players will come on a massive mount, and you're this... my guy at level 59 before he gets to level 60 looked like a guy. He was wearing an underwear, like just underwear. For some reason my gear stats gave me the worst looking armor, a turban and a stick, nothing else. And some flip-flops, and that was the best level gear. And then I'm walking towards this crazy-looking place. I think it was Ashenvale or something like that. No, not Ashenvale. And I'm going to this crazy forest-looking place. I'm like, oh shit, that's Alliance place.
Ashenvale.
Was it Ashenvale? Okay.
Just north of your favorite barons, yep.
Oh yeah, and then it'll probably be that because I always stay there. And then. I haven't got my mount or whatever it was, and these 3 Alliance guys come in, these players who look so cool in the game, but they have diabetes in real life. I'm telling you, I have now met so many addicted people. I have met people who ruined their lives, basically, someone who went to uni, failed, went back to redo his law exam, and when I asked him, how did your exam go? He goes, Cataclysm came out, or some Burning Crusade came out, or one of the expansions came out. I'm like, sorry, what? He didn't even go. He repeated. Fucking wasted his law career. Then he went to jail or something. But like, people are addicted in this game. WoW has a very high level of addicted players, but it's a great game. Is amazing. I don't even know why I'm talking about this, but I just feel like console players. I know you say that it's not, maybe not be nice. I still believe. I was hoping for them to say, if they said WoW is coming to consoles, the megaton gigantic nuclear freaking bomber that would be to me.
Because that wouldn't happen now, right? I mean, they just bought them. This has been a PC game forever.
They said we can work it. It's coming. They could have just say it's coming.
If they're going to do anything,
be coming
get that
as
announcement
well.
a couple of years from now. It's going to take time.
Yeah. I want to shout out to a random guy. He says,
so I fucked your bitch.
oh shit, that is not Phil Spencer. I did not. Why was that? Oh, that was for something else. Sorry, a random guy. I did not do that to Mrs. And that was Tupac, who was dead who was until he apparently came back alive again. There's lots of theories that Jada, what's her name, had a thing with him. That would have been disgusting. You don't sully his freaking legacy with this bald-headed woman who's a horrible person. I think she's horrible. Will Smith's wife I'm talking about. She's just a horrible person. I haven't met her, but she seems like a fucking psycho. Come on, man. Let's be real. I don't want to talk about this again. Random guy comments, thank you for the $7 super chat. Bungie left Microsoft during the dark Xbox One days. Wonder if Phil and Bill, he's fucking retired, bruv. What if Phil will buy them back? Sony buy Rockstar. Get it. What the fuck are you saying? Don't you dare. Get it over with. Just launch it all on PC. What? Random guy is smoking crack through his ass. And I love it. Acquisitions. No, so yeah, that was fucking you guys with your super chats are crazy. How do I fucking weave that into conversation? Your babies is the best though. But your baby father, on that note, let's talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Your baby father has blocked IGN. He has taken this stand. In media bias, Xbox gets fucked by IGN again, or does it? Modern Warfare 3 got a lowly score of 4 out of 10, or just for its campaign, and that set people off. The same reviewer seems to have reviewed mostly movies and TV series, and then she also the last game was Vanguard or something? I'm not sure. Either way, IGN's reviews I don't tend to take seriously, apart from the person who reviews their races. I was on a show with Colt Eastwood. He's a really nice guy, and he knows what he's talking about. And I'm not saying everyone at IGN is shit, but you know, after Dan Stapleton's like scoring and reviews, like the scoring doesn't make sense. That's why you don't do away with scores. Call of Duty. Apparently, because Microsoft fucking bought them, in 2 weeks, Microsoft helped develop this fucking game. So the ponies are now saying, oh, Xbox stenches on it. But like, what the fuck did Microsoft do in 2.5 weeks to take it? But it's still first party. So people are like, oh, but you're saying it's first party, though. It is first party, and Microsoft didn't help develop the game. But I always said, Asa, that Modern Warfare 3 looked kind of weak. Like, there was no advertising, no nothing. It looked like DLC, which apparently it might be. Well, I don't know. I haven't downloaded it yet. What do you think? Memes.
So here's a conspiracy. When you talk about Microsoft stench being on it, so perhaps not Microsoft stench, but perhaps the acquisition stench is upon it. Because there may be, not too long ago, like a year ago, Activision Blizzard was saying there wasn't going to be a Call of Duty this year. And then they said there's going to be a premium something this year. And then they've released it as a full game. Is this just like throwing out some trash to satisfy a contract that they've already signed because they owe Sony a certain number of Call of Duty marketing things?
I think you're on the money there. Because everything, all the indicators, as we were running up to it, showed me that the game contrasts it to Modern Warfare 2, which was obviously a product of actual development and passion and an intent to deliver something special, and they did go ahead of it. Contrasted to this, the most, like, BG even tweeted, he said, this is the first time I've seen a COD game. It doesn't feel like COD is coming out next week. Like, no one's even talking. Like, it really isn't. And I think you're right. This is like the bare minimum effort, obviously distracted by ABK tremendously. And I don't know about the whole angle of churning out because we have a contract with Sony. But Microsoft did come out and say that they did want to make COD biannual. And I feel like the people in the studio also want some fucking respite. Think about, I don't know about the rotation or how much of that staff is retained over a period of years. But, you know, you hold on to those people because they, you know, senior positions and whatnot. And I don't think they want to work on COD. Like, not as frequent as every year. They just want to fucking chill, make some more games, which is great news for Xbox. Because Phil Spencer came out on the Blizzard stage, on the World of Warcraft stage, and he said this as well. He says he promises to nurture what made Blizzard unique. And when we talked about Activision a few weeks ago, he also wanted to, he's going off, or he's done it already, talk to them and the teams and ask them, what do you want to make? And I guarantee you a lot of them don't want to, not guarantee, but I'm very strongly of the opinion that most of the people just want a break from COD or explore something more ambitious within COD, but a yearly cycle would not facilitate that. What do you think about that, Hargeet? Because, like, this COD this is one review, by the way, but the indication is this may not be up to snuff, which wouldn't surprise me. But the multiplayer might be good. Or the single player might be good. I don't know, fucking IGN reviews. What's your take on this?
So I expected this to be a 50s or 60s. I've been saying that for a bit now.
Okay.
And to what Asa said, that's why. Like this was supposed to be a DLC. That was what they told us when they released Modern Warfare 2 last year. That there will be a DLC expansion next year. We will not be releasing a mainline COD. And then sometime this year, they decided to walk that back and say, no, we're going to have a mainline COD. The Modern Warfare 2 remaster is 75 on OpenCritic, right? So it's not exactly a highly rated game. It's an okay game, right? It's good, right? It's not a great or a 9 or anything like that. And so I'm like, okay, if this is coming out, it's a DLC that's being expanded, then it is very likely to get even lower, right? So you're looking at 5s or 6s. That's probably where this is going to land, right? So it does not surprise me in any way, right? So if the campaign is lackluster, now there's a lot being made about the length. It's supposedly 5 hours according to How Long to Beat, and the original Modern Warfare 3 was 6 hours. So is that a huge delta? Not really. But either way, it is going to be something that feels a lot like an expanded DLC. Much like, to me, like Miles Morales was an expanded. I don't mean to pile on them. I loved Miles Morales. I thought it was the better of the Spider-Mans I played, right? But it outlived itself by copy pasting that office building, excursion that you have to do. I'm like, because they just did it 4 times in a row. I'm like, why are you doing this? It's like, just totally took me out of the immersion, right? It would have been best if you did it once or twice and then just continue the game, right? But they wanted to make it bigger, so they just copy pasted that. Like, fine, okay, I get it, and you're gonna get something like that here, right? And that
this is Sledgehammer, though. There are more moving parts to COD, yeah.
Fair enough, but at some point, like, if you had a DLC plan that was going to be like this, and then suddenly you say, no, I want the full quality. Well, how do you do that? The dev cycles have been bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. How do you make that happen? It's gonna be problematic. So I expected this to not rate well.
Yes.
On top of that, I expect there will be some hit because it's Xbox. Whether it's just the acquisition, like you mentioned, that's probably more it, right? Is just, how dare you go buy Activision, right? Fair enough, right? Whatever. And I don't think that would go from like a 9 to a 4, but it would go from like a 5 to a 4, 4.5, right? That kind of thing I could see happening. Is this a 4? I don't know. I haven't played it, so it may justify it. Maybe it is really that bad.
4 hours the campaign. That's which I am actually okay with, because these movies, they're like movies. So 4 hours for me is fine. Like a short, brief, effectively good campaign. But Modern Warfare 2 story was shit. The last year's one. It was crap. Sorry, Mo.
And that's the question, right? Is like, is this actually a good campaign or not, right? So the last, the campaign warranted a lower score. It was a 75 on OpenCritic, right? So it's not doing as well as it should. It's kind of on a downward trend. But look, every time you kind of remake something, this is what you get, right? Call of Duty needs a breather. If it wasn't obvious, we're getting remakes of old games, right?
Yeah.
They need a breather. And, this is the massive opportunity with Phil coming in and saying, we're not going to do this unless it makes sense, right? So we will put out a game
that makes sense. Contractually, really. And they've already said that they're going to release the annual CODs for God knows how many years.
Well, have they? Have they contracted that they're going to say they're going to do an annual?
They're not contracted, but they've actually announced that that's what they're intending to. That's what they will do. And it was only like 2 weeks ago or thereabouts. So we are going to get
deals now require them to make an annual COD.
I don't know if it's contractually, but they've already said that they are. That's what they're going to do now. So they're definitely doing it. And I don't know if this is a
right. If that's
absolutely
true,
sucks.
That sucks, because the opposite is what's needed, right? Because Call of Duty it's just literally just like old games being brought back. Now it's we're just Black Ops.
I agree with that,
World
but
at War.
the thing is, that's
down.
not all the end of the bad. By the way, I'm gonna pick a shout out to Jess, 10 memberships, And he's a member himself. Shout out to you, man. And it's good to see a few more badges in the chat as well. Shout out to Jez. It's so nice of him, man.
But I kind of expected this. I expect this to be in the 50s, 60s when it comes up, right? Like the multiplayer will get a little higher than a 4, I'm sure. It'll get probably like a 7 or 8 or something like that, whatever. And they'll average it out. It'll probably be like a 6, right? So fine, whatever. So that's probably what the IGN rating will end up being, something like that. But so I'm expecting a 5s or 6.
That's Sledgehammer, though. Sledgehammer, in my opinion, not been the most of the talent of those guys. Infinity Ward, in my opinion, a lot of people say Treyarch, but I say Infinity Ward. It'll be interesting to see how they deal with it, but obviously they have to make money. They're not going to just shit it out. They need COD to be good as well. So Xbox does get a bit of that poor PR hit with what could be one of the lowest rated CODs since Vanguard, or probably even lower potentially. But it got a 4 out of 10 from IGN that gave Quantum Error a 5 out of 10. What the actual different reviews maybe, but fucking that's just dumb. They don't have to IGN, man. But Quantum Error. Now let's talk about this game, bro. Like, why are we talking about this indie game? Well, talk about maybe a case study in effective marketing despite how much shit your game is. Maybe, I don't know. Quantum Error, for the people who don't know, is this indie game that gained exposure, shall we say, I think it's fair to say, by essentially console warring. And people are like, that's not really console warring. What do they do, GaaS? They were basically sucking off the PlayStation 5's SSD capabilities. They said it's so powerful, so good, we can't get it on Xbox because the way we built this game. And then we're like, huh? Okay, shit. They're doing some ambitious things. But they were shitting on Xbox's SSD. They said, oh, look, we might have to put load screens in here if we work on this. And on top of that, the tweets were retweeting some of the most hardcore PlayStation fanboys, and I mean fanboys, more than anyone. So everyone, it's not denying you. If you're denying they were console warring, then I don't know what to tell you, bro. Shout out to Rant and Game. And Sean in the chat, Sean was wicked last week. So like, Quantum Error comes out. All the pills, fucking Mark Cerny did such an incredible job with the SSD that the PlayStation Nation had to rely on Quantum Error as an example of this incredible capabilities of this hard drive. And Quantum Error is out. And turns out the game is not very good. It's like 46 or 45 Metacritic right now. It looked like shit. It looked like ass. And anyone who had any eyes that worked when they saw the trailer knew it looked like ass. And the game comes out and it is... I haven't played it. It looks like fucking ass. Because... Bro, have you seen some of the shit they've done in this game, Asa? But the developers actually, there's a fire extinguishers in like firemen putting out a fire. This is a DCG's review of all places because it's so funny. Because Dreamcast guy was fucking hyping this game. He was sucking up. Let's go. I'm like, yo, this guy's blatantly excited because of the console war angle, and he got destroyed in the ass because then he had to review it. But shout out to him, he actually reviewed it, unlike Reforged Gaming, who actually requested a code and decided not to review it because it's negative PlayStation news. Yeah, fucking integrity. But then you've got fucking like they got firemen in the game. They're just like you bought from Unreal Engine. Like they bought it from the store and just drop and drag. They're in the game. Just like basic textures not missing. The text is missing horrendous animations and potentially a decent story. And they're already saying they're working on a second one. We're like, what the fuck? They made so much money from pre-orders that they clawed back the development cost of $10. I know, but...
That, guys, is the biggest endorsement for console warring so far. I'm sad to say. Like,
yes! It made it made a studio. There you go. Enough of a marketing tool. Console warring was enough of a marketing tool to transform the fate of these developers.
Like, yeah, it's
facts.
It's a weird one because there are 4 people at that studio, and presumably just one of them that went full like dickhead mode on Twitter and said the things that you said. Properly console warring. He did engage with it and he did stoke those fires. But then you look at the results and you see that they made back their development costs. Which, okay, that's like 4 people's work for like 20 minutes a day for a year, I'm supposing, like based on the review scores. But it's 4 people's work. That's mean, right? Because I reckon they probably put their heart and souls into that game, and they just bit off more than they could chew. They're not like not necessarily.
Maybe they don't have much soul.
I don't know their background. I don't know who they are, but.
I don't know who
this
they are as well.
You'd like to condemn it. I'd like to say, like, what a freaking idiot. It's come and bit them in the arse, hasn't it? But if they've made back the development costs, it really hasn't bit them in the arse. They've done all right out of it, so...
Well, if you extend that, though, the next game, will people be fooled by it? And that's always the problem,
exactly.
Right? Your future can get shot if you do something like that. Now,
for short-term
by
gain.
then, it could be that some of these subscription services work out, and they get into a PS Plus situation or a Game Pass situation, or some other subscription service, right? So, look,
or maybe nobly, they knew they didn't have the finances to make that special game, so they shat out this console war to get exact money, and now they're like, we will show you guys. We remember that 46 or 43, whatever Metacritic scores, and we're gonna deliver Quantum Error 2, and everyone who will inevitably make fun of this game is gonna look like a fool, and we would have vindicated ourselves. Maybe, or maybe they've just gone for a short-term goal, being fucking just desperate or whatever, and then just shot themselves in the foot for the long term. But at the moment, I would say Acer, it worked. They got money, bro. No one would have bought this game.
No, I think we're all in agreement that console warring is like, it's not the way. They shouldn't have done it. It was a mistake. Nobody should. Short-term gain, long-term disaster.
Apart from me.
Is that what you're saying, guys? Stay out of it?
No, I'm just saying developers, if you want to jump in it, bro, developers jump in it. Everyone jump in it. I want the industry to jump in it. But when you jump in it, you don't get a fucking safety net. We get to fuck you on the same level playing field, bruh. Then obviously it's fair game. It's fair game. This is what happens. So you got rinsed. They got rinsed. And I got a video coming out rinsing them even more. And the people that hyped this shit. So it's like, but it's fun. Like, they made money. You guys fucked up who bought the game. You lost out, apart from one guy who fucking loved it, apparently. The same guy, incidentally, was just marketing the game from before anyone even heard of it. Random guy comments with a $279. Everyone did that to my ex, bro. Hargeet buying Portal. Everyone did that to my... Oh, shit. I remember the song now. The Tupac song. We won't go through that again. But are you buying Portal? No, you're not. He doesn't have a fucking PlayStation. He's not going to buy a Portal.
You mean that hardware device?
handheld? Yeah.
Of course not. Like, I sold my PS5 because the freaking controller sucks. I'm sorry, it actually blows because you blow on the controller, right?
Which is also something you do in this Quantum Error. They put this fucking... I don't know if I would need to take, like, say, hey, admire the attempt, but there was a CPR scene. It looks so shit.
You have to blow in the controller.
You blow the controller. Like, oh, this feels weird. I'm
oh my
just
goodness.
giving a blowjob on
places you could go with
controller.
that. Oh,
to play this game that looks like ass. I have to give a blowjob to a PlayStation controller to fucking play this game that looks and plays like ass.
Like the PlayStation 5 controller
error,
for as well.
ladies and
Not
gentlemen.
that much, but I do like it.
Well, you're blowing,
like
you do
it.
get like rumble feedback, you know. It's haptic feedback.
Bro, fucking Quantum, you deserve to get murked. I'm so grateful you exist, and thank you for doing all that console warring. It was fucking brilliant. It just
the
made
game's
us...
eventually coming out on the other consoles as well, right? So it's going to come out on freaking Xbox, and it's going to work just fine because, there are actually ways around all that. And it's going to come to PC. Has it already released on PC or not? I don't know if it has or not. But
You know, these developers are so vindictive.
baloney.
I bet you, even though if it doesn't need it, they will put a loading mechanic in the game just to say, we told you so. Because that's how
They
fucking
would.
low
They
the bar
would.
is
Yeah.
for them. Yeah,
But,
this is the
that's
thing. Your
their
reputation.
problem, whatever.
Good luck. Enjoy the money that you made. So that's quite fucking Quantum Error. That was fun. It was basically the video. I had a Robocop as a topic here. Nah, never mind. Xbox Series X beat PlayStation 5 in Japan for a week. But in Japan, it sold like 2,500 or 3,000, which is not that much. PlayStation sold less though, and a lot of people, it's because this new Slim is coming out, because let's be real, Japanese form factor is actually very important. Except the PS5 Slim doesn't look that much smaller to me, and it looks like ass. The PS5 Slim looks like ass. How did you make it look worse? It looks like, have you seen it? It looks like plastic. It looks like a toy, like, the Kinder Bueno toy fucking, when they come out, that little eggshell. Like, that's what it feels like, the plastic cover. I'm just, wait, my brother comes back. I'm just holding on to the original. But, maybe that's what factors in the sales. But, I remember the Xbox One days, and you used to get, and you still do, I think, but you used to get sales in Japan of Xbox consoles in single digits, and now you're getting 2,000 to 3,000. Like, may not seem a lot, but Japan and Xbox, like, and then the lines will get blurred with subscriptions, and Game Pass, Xbox, Japanese subs of Game Pass going. It's just weird. Hardware wise, it's just in a week. But Asa, you are just, if not older than me, you remember those moments well, like Xbox One getting absolutely hammered in Japan. Do you think this is like still the status quo, or just a weird anomaly that doesn't mean anything at all?
2,500 consoles makes no difference to anything in the long run. It would be nice to see Xbox pick up over there so that we can get Lost Odyssey 2 or a Lost Odyssey remake. But I don't care about sales in Japan.
I know sales in Japan. It's just a weird one. It's not a non-story, but it's just something to poke fun off on the console wars, because it's just like, obviously the PlayStation 5 Slim is coming out, but it just looked quite funny. Xbox finally also wins a power argument. Ooh, what is this? Well, actually quite decisively with Alan Wake 2. So Alan Wake 2 Digital Foundry. Face, why don't you DM me, bro, or tag me in any post, bro? Every time PlayStation wins, he's tagging me. Or the PlayStation 5 Pro's announced, he tags me. We did tag me on this one. But this one is quite an important one. Asa, I don't know if you followed Digital Foundry's analysis on this, but there was also this talk of that something that Xbox has that PlayStation doesn't. I forgot the name of
Mesh
shaders. That's it. And the native shaders were used in here on Alan Wake 2, and Alan Wake 2 performs quite significantly better on the over the PS5 version. The kind of divide that we would expect as standard going into this generation, and one that's quite significant because Alan Wake 2 looks so fucking good. But what's your take on it?
It is just that you said it's the kind of difference that you would expect based on the raw specification of the consoles, which is typically it's not a massive difference. It's like 10% most of the time. It's significant in Alan Wake 2 because it's the difference between hitting a target and not hitting a target. So on the Xbox, it pretty much locks. It's 30 or 60 depending on which mode you're in, and on the PlayStation, you're more likely to see it dip below that. You're more likely to kind of rely on your VRR, your variable refresh rate, to compensate for the difference. It's not a massive difference, and I don't think it particularly proves out the mesh shader theory in the way that people want it to, because they are still ballpark performance-wise what you'd expect just from the specs of the consoles. But it's only a positive for Xbox to kind of stretch the gap that they're supposed to have based on where they put their money.
Do you expect to see this kind of gap continue with other games? I know every development house is different.
Well, there's a really difficult question, isn't it? Because I expected from the off that this would be kind of standard pretty much throughout the generation. That essentially this is the hardware difference. This is your teraflops. People say you can't use teraflops as a measure of performance, but you can to a degree. That it's not a nothing stat. It is meaningful, and what we're seeing at the moment is that difference reflected. It's a surprise to me that it hasn't played out like that more often, and I wouldn't say with any confidence that we've suddenly flipped the tables now just based on this one game. But it isn't just this one game. You are seeing it's had an edge in quite a few games recently. It usually plays out as a slight resolution bump, particularly when you've got a dynamic resolution. It doesn't bottom out quite as low quite as often and things like that. So I don't know. I guess it is going to be standard, and it isn't very meaningful to anybody apart from the people that pixel peep at Digital Foundry so that they can console war.
Yeah, it is important for us. But then by the time Xbox gains speed, the PS5 Pro comes out. So the wins don't last for long unless Xbox do release a mid-gen stronger console. Which Asa, I'm starting to believe that they might just do it. Like your old theory.
Where are you getting that from? Because I said that in the first place. I couldn't see
my
them.
head.
not. Like, I don't consider their next console to be a mid-gen refresh, but I thought they would have a next-gen console sooner rather than later. We've not seen any indication of that, though. So what's changing your mind?
I think later on, it's the manner in which they seem to, not that I agree with this strategy, by the way, but they seem to be focusing less and less on consoles. So you're blurring the generation line is going to be very different for Microsoft, and it's going to be like, like a weird, like almost PlayStation may regard itself in generationally, or at least in words, but Xbox will just carry on. I think, look, it may not come out next year, but in 2-3 years, I can see the next Series X, Z, or whatever you fucking call it. I can definitely see that coming. Because the development is going to be... I don't think with Microsoft you may see a clear divide. By then, PlayStation would have shop anyway. But yeah, like... I don't know. It's going to be a weird one. It'll be interesting to see as well. But I'm buying a PC soon, but I want the consoles to be good. I'm enjoying my time on consoles. I really.
What stops you from enjoying your time on consoles?
Nothing stops it, but I'm just saying to retain a future. I do want to see that. I'm not as bothered as other people are, to be honest, actually, on the frame rate thing, because on console I always associated 30, and I'm actually playing 30s for some games. Hellblade, I'm definitely playing 30 FPS. No chance I'm playing that at 60 FPS. And you might ask, Gaz, you're an idiot, but I can explain that, but it's not interesting.
It just
your baby
depends,
father,
exactly right.
Yeah, with the. Sorry,
go ahead, sorry.
Were you going to say something?
I was just going to weigh in on this topic.
I was just going to say, typically when you have a difference in performance between the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series console, if a new game comes out or is on the verge of coming out, you won't see a word of bragging or comparison on Twitter and social media and anywhere else until somebody does a video to analyze it and tells you which one you're supposed to think is better. And that says a lot about how important it is.
Absolutely, it does. We saw it with, was it Elden Ring? People, like, for a week or two, they were really enjoying the game. And then when the DF thing came, they were like, 3 frames. It's just like, what?
Exactly.
Like, there is absolutely, but it's just pride, man. It's just console war, like, it's just fun. But realistically, yeah, we know. It's just fucking stupid, but we have to do it anyway. Your baby father with a $10 super chat. Shout out to J-Dub for pre-ordering Quantum Error and posting it to Console Wars, and got lots of others to do the same. Really? And then he cancelled his pre-order and left those dopes hanging. Piece of shit. Did he really? What a fucking genius. J-Dub is a fucking genius. He did that. He made you, the PlayStation guys, fund this game. Jump on the narrative. Fucking, now you're committed. Quantum Error. I think you need to give a bonus to J-Dub for doing that.
So yeah,
that's the power.
I don't like
Sony.
piling on actual people, but like J-Dub, haven't they like fired you at Sony yet?
They're never firing him. He's gonna outlast everyone.
You haven't been laid off yet. You didn't go out with Jim Ryan. I'm just saying, maybe April you'll be kind of out.
He's their best marketing tool. You think they're gonna get rid of freaking J-Dub? No chance. His job is there after Shueisha. He's not leaving. But yeah, it's such fun and games. Can we talk about?
That's it. I just want to mention that J-Dub, I'm not trying to poke fun at you, brother. It's just like
J-Dub
it's just a funny thing. It's just the way it
J-Dub is hilarious, and he's one of those, in my opinion, does it in the right. He can go a little bit crazy, but he's funny. He makes me laugh. But Sony, J-Dub loves this. Sony acquired iSize, which is like, watch out, ABK. No, it's a deep learning for video delivery. Why is PlayStation acquiring it, though? That suggests something gaming related. And I've just figured that out myself, not with a conversation from Acer before the show started. You mentioned this. I said, well, is this really a gaming topic? To which you said, well, actually, it's PlayStation acquiring iSize, so it's important. Why is
it's
an
important distinction, because it doesn't, on the surface, it's like a multimedia acquisition, and you'd think it's. I don't know a lot about iSize and what they do, what Sony are actually getting out of this acquisition, but very lightly scratching the surface. It looks like it's something to do with streaming technology, and it is. When Sony announced it, they specifically announced it as a PlayStation acquisition rather than a broad Sony acquisition. So you'd have to hope that they're going to integrate some aspects of this technology to make their streaming service better than it is now, with a view to the future. But like I say, I don't know anything about them. So if anyone in chat knows anything that iSize does or how this is significant, then by all means say so. Do you know anything about this, Hargeet?
Not specifically, but I kind of concur. But I think it's probably to do with their cloud streaming. My guess. I don't know if it's the like they do have some video streaming capabilities now, right? So, but I'd assume this probably has more to do with the cloud streaming of their games. So hopefully they'll start expanding that quite a bit. They've already added some of their PS4 and 5 games now for streaming. Is that right? Into their cloud.
Actually,
so this might just expand that
really
capability.
Recently released. I haven't tested it yet, but they've just over the last, depending on where you are, over the last month, they've added the PlayStation 5 game streaming and the higher resolutions and all of that. So the 4K streaming. I've not compared it. Those that know me know that I'm quite an advocate of the quality of GeForce Now as a streaming service and the potential of cloud streaming. Once you've played that service on its premium tier, then you start to see actually this is friggin' incredible. I haven't tested Sony side by side to see if it's any good, and I don't know if iSize is intended to bridge that gap, but.
So it could be something like that, right? Or it could just be for video. That's always a possibility. But PlayStation and the video part seems kind of weird.
I love movies.
But I think it'd be about cloud streaming for the games. That'd be my guess to get the technology in there.
Sev, I did wash my hands. What are you talking about? It's just a non-story. Like, let's see what they do with it. It's not exactly setting the world on fire. I do think on the acquisition front, the Microsoft is halting thing. Well, right now it's just trying to assimilate ABK, but I think in terms of acquisitions, it's not done. But I think tactically they'll wait for Sony to acquire one bigger studio. They must be hearing rumblings of a big acquisition from PlayStation happening, and as soon as that happens, Microsoft will then return fire. That's how I see it happening, and I think it will happen very soon after the PlayStation
care
one.
About PlayStation?
Maybe.
Okay.
No, only because. Just regulatory insight. It may be a smaller acquisition, but because
Microsoft, they could just go buy a bunch of small things, right? Anything under 100 mil, they could just go buy it.
Just the PR hit and everything. Plus, it gives them more time.
What, the PR hit with Lena Khan?
No. I mean, the PR hit of them consolidating more. You know, you can see that being spun up as a negative. But realistically, with that, plus they've got more on their plate with ABK anyway. So they're definitely interested, but don't expect them to jump right in because they've got a mammoth task of incorporating
put this
a 10K.
out there. Let's say you look at Embracer, who's like hemorrhaging right now, and you get a deal in place that could potentially.
Yeah, if a good deal comes in, then you're right. You're right.
Would you say no?
No,
I think they would just jump on
question.
it. I think they
absolutely. Do it. You're right. Yeah. I say that, and then Crystal Dynamics come out. You think Microsoft is going to fucking? Oh, we'll wait.
Yeah, hell yeah, bring it on.
Fucking bring it on, and then we'll sort something else out. No, you're right. You're right. I'll take that back. But
who does the acquisitions? Is that Sarah Bond now, or is that still Phil? Like with this whole restructure. Also, by the way, I'm just going to point out Sarah Bond is now the head of the console, right? She kind of has been for a while, but she's now head of the console. She's a lot more gung ho. So this idea of a mid-gen refresh, you may see her just say, "I want to do it."
Oh, Sarah Bond, please, if you're listening, come on. This is the podcast to listen to where we talk about actually what's wrong with Xbox, what it needs to do, okay? And look, you need to do a mid-gen console, and it needs to be more powerful than the PS5. I don't give a shit if there's 3 SKUs. Send the team out to every studio. Say, we will help you with your troubles. Just shut the fuck up. Let us help you. Because that's the problem, actually. The reason why a lot of... they're not taking on board like the tools that they've given. I've heard that.
The advanced technology group, yeah. I mean, I've told Jason Ronald, hey, if you're going to make one, I want it really expensive, and I want it to just be like ridiculously powerful. Like, take away my need to go to the PC.
So you talked to Jason Ronald. So this is the thing, chat. Hargeet was having lunch at the Illuminati dinner, and apparently Colt was telling me because Hargeet was chewing his ear out on the power thing. Like it was you didn't let go of that with Jason Ronald, and that is amazing. Chat, listen, when you go to these events, you just want to be nice. Sometimes you want to have a hard question.
I was cordial. I wasn't trying to be like...
No. He wasn't, I'm not saying you're being a dick. I'm not saying you're to be a dick.
I was like, because that's the point. We're here.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So, like, with there, you're talking and you get a little bit, shy, or you talk a little bit, you don't ask hard questions. Except Hargeet didn't just ask. He persisted, I hear, quite strongly. And then he put forward his case forward for what was a mid-gen console. Because Jason Ronald's view was, well, how many... Because I went around the table and he asked everyone to put their hands up, saying how many of you would buy it. And not everyone put their hand up because they don't care about power. So he said, look, you guys are hardcore, right? Am I telling the story right? And imagine the masses. And the Series S is selling so much. So, is he right?
And I agree with him.
This sounds like he doesn't want...
And I'm like, but if you're going to make one, here's what I want, because I don't want a little, hey, it went from 12 to 16. No.
Oh,
it better be like 40 T-flops. It better be like $1,000. And it better be my PC replacement, right?
Absolutely.
I want to see path tracing. I want to see the whole gamut. Like, you make that thing so powerful that I don't bother going to PC. Right now, I say, hey, Starfield's coming out 30 frames. I'm playing that on PC because that's where I'm going to get my 60 or 120 frames.
Absolutely.
Right? So that just takes it out of the equation. I'll just buy your high-end box.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So if you're going to have a mid-gen refresh, because you don't need it. I think the Series X is good the way it is. But if you're going to have one, it's got to be this all-out. Give me all the features. I don't want to hear ray tracing wasn't doable at a high frame rate. No. You're going to do path tracing. You're going to do ray tracing, all that stuff. Make it happen, right? If you're going to do it, make
on
it.
Console.
I don't want a $500 console.
He's right.
No.
Can I just say I want
everything.
both things. I've been a long time advocate for a super premium console for the people that are willing to invest in it.
Exactly.
But I would also like
fantastic.
I would also like that intermediary, the upgrade of the Series X that is for people that aren't gonna go super premium. Because when they talk about the limited audience for it, I want the super premium one to exist, and I'm happy for them to price it for profit rather than be like a mainstream console entry. Because there is a market for that, and they could do that, I hope. But I would also like to see the baseline brought forwards as well.
They could get a 4090 and make it cheaper, $1,000, I reckon, because the card alone is $1,500. But when they buy it with little incentives, I don't know. They don't want to sell it for a loss. They want to make that for a profit on that one. So probably $1,500 if they had a 4090 to maybe.
But it wouldn't be a 4090. It'd be the AMD equivalent, right? And their top card, I think, is $1,000 right now. I think that's their top card, right? So if you took something like that, I think a 60 T-flop, something in that range, right? If you cut that a bit and you just, because this is going to be gaming specific, right? What you get out of 12 T-flops is pretty good in comparison to what you get on PC, right? So T-flop to T-flop. So they could do it. They could get like a $500, $600 APU that gives you massive performance, gets you all the way up to path tracing, right? But that's what they'd have to. But that would be all. I wouldn't bother to jump if it was from 12 T-flops to like 18. No thanks. I'll just go to my PC.
No. I fully agree with that. That's why I'm not excited about the PS5 Pro at all. Not at all. Not that I haven't seen what it looks like, but it's just going to be like. We've seen the specs, and most likely those specs are going to be correct, as Tom Henderson leaked them.
It's like mid-20s T-flops, something like that, right?
You'll get more 60, you'll get a lot more like the console war wins, but really it's going to be like a flaccid mid-gen upgrade, like to me what the PS4 Pro was. So I'm not that hyped for it. God Emperor Sofa King with a $5 super chat. Damn, so Sony's going to make people pay more for mesh shader tech and paper clip stat and a disk drive that needs a DRM check. Damn. God Emperor Sofa King, you're so messy. That's true. But that's the revision, which we'll talk about that.
There you go. There it is.
Oh, God. Bruh. That's I can't believe how bad that is. It's crazy, man. I get my flowers today. Cliff Bleszinski confirmed, even though he's weird. Did I not? How many times have I said Gears of War needs a reboot like God of War? I've just cited God of War, and I got so much shit in chat for that. Oh, why you replacing God of War? Because GOW is the same. And then Cliff Bleszinski, the man who made a fucking Gears of War, says expressly he believes Gears of War needs a reboot like God of War. And
you know what,
goes
guys?
on to talk about.
You have said this many times, and in the past, I've never disagreed with you. But because I don't like to see you giving yourself flowers, I'm going to disagree today.
Fuck you. Listen, you made fun of my reload mechanic. It's coming.
What is your reload mechanic? Do I even want to know?
Asa just describes it badly, and he lies when he says it's a QTE mechanic. I just active reload. We'll talk about it after the stream.
He wants multi-part active reloads where you have to land the prompt to like 6 different occasions to reload your weapon every time. Fire 12 more bullets. Go through another quick time event to reload your weapon. This is GaaS Gears of War.
I'll tell you after the shows.
Nobody wants a piece of this.
Do you require the dual sense? Do you have to blow on the controller?
No, you don't have to do anything like that. I promise you, Hargeet. Just be on my side on this one, please. This one I get murked for no reason. That's not what you said. Anyway,
shake the controller.
Fuck. Should I shake the controller? No, fuck it. I'm not going to talk about. Cliff, oh my god! Come on, man. Listen, I get my flowers. I don't give a shit what Asa says. Asa, God of War. Surely, why you said you didn't disagree with me? So, being the bold man that you are, never stating your position, tell me why you maybe agreed with me on this?
Yeah, I will. So I agreed with you in the past in the sense that I want them to go back to their roots a little more and get this kind of survival horror elements, the tension, the going into the dark and getting eaten, the more tactical gunplay where your weapons aren't that accurate and you need to flank your enemy if you want to have a chance of shooting them, and kind of maintaining your ammo count. Because in Gears of War 1, if you decided to play it stop and pop and you found a piece of cover and you started trying to shoot enemies that were also behind cover, you were just going to run out of ammo. You had to flank them to be able to progress through that game, and it was more strategic. And so subsequent Gears of Wars, that kind of fell away. The guns became more accurate, and you could stop and pop. You could play it like the Order 1886. You could find a bit of cover and clear out a scene from that bit of cover, more or less. So I've agreed with you in that I think I would like to see them go back to making it more tense and making it more tactical. But I disagree on the God of War style reboot, because God of War as a reboot fundamentally changed what God of War was. It took out the base game. It took out the way that it played and controlled. And Gears of War is still, for me, unique, relevant, modern, current fun. The way that it plays, the fundamentals, the over-the-shoulder camera, the roadie run, the slamming into cover. I don't want them to reboot away from that. Yeah. And I also don't want them to... One of my pet peeves with Halo 5 and Halo 4 for me, they weren't good storytelling, but I hate that they didn't finish their story. And Gears of War is in the same position for me at the moment. Gears of War 5 is not a completed story yet. So I don't want them to reboot it at this point. Forget what story they're trying to tell, not conclude it, and start again with something different. So I don't want a God of War revamp for Gears of War yet. I want them to carry it forward in the way that they are and just make it a bit more tense. So
well, I think realistically we're not going to get the God of War or Gears of War, that I want with Gears, the next Gears 6. But like Cliff Bleszinski saying that doesn't necessarily, I think, fine. He uses God of War as a reference because I think it indicates the level, or not, maybe not that far, but the level of kind of revision he's talking about. And I think and he explained what you wanted, and it's not what what God of War was. And he said all the things that you said, but he also expressly mentioned less health. I keep saying the bullet sponginess. Less health. He says it. Less health. So he's talking about, in my opinion, minus the active reload, which is up in the air. He's talking about the game that, in my head, I think he's talking about. And a lot. If it's spin-off series, fine. I don't give a shit, because one, that resolves your issue. You get the conclusion to this incredible story of Gears, which is not that incredible in my opinion. And then you get a side one, which is an experiment, and hopefully pays off. Well, all they need to do is get this loading right, like GaaS version, GaaS instant reload, and you've got a 90+ meta. Spartan661 with a $2 super chat. Poor Clippy holding up the PS5 Slim. Hargeet, did you make that?
Yes, I did.
I can tell because you definitely didn't do it on Photoshop. That was a Microsoft Paint job.
Yeah, I just
not even a
slapped it together 'cause
PNG
I wanted to
file
have
for the
a funny-
paperclip. You
I just wanted to have a
fucking
funny background while I was in the middle of a podcast. I'm like,
no,
I'll just put it
it's
together.
the way you make your memes and the way I make my memes. So if I was going to make that meme, I would have taken that paperclip, made sure it was a PNG file, and then blend it in a way that was under the PS5.
Yeah, no,
and
fair
then
enough.
out of
I just didn't care to do any of that.
And
I
that's
could do
why
all
your
that, but I'm
meme
like-
is better. It's why it just looks fucking hilarious. Because I would have gone extra, but you just the way you slapped
Just
it
did it.
there.
Yeah, I just did it
it's
right
so
when it became the
fucking
thing.
basic
I'm like,
and
I'm just gonna
amazing.
put it in.
It's amazing. It's
yeah,
a
as
work
far
of
as,
art.
like-
I
as
want
far
to
as-
buy that and put
I know,
that
right?
on my wall.
As far as this like reboot, I don't think they should reboot like Asa was saying, but there is a potential for games to become irrelevant generation to generation, right? And so, does it make sense to bring back the original trilogy in some way? Sure, they could do something like that. I would like to see them go back, right? So we kind of get glimpses
Pre-human Sarah.
Yeah, well, or
Well-
before the whole war thing started, right? So we get
Oh, yeah.
glimpses of it from the current games, from some of the side games, like the tactics game, right?
Didn't Judgment do that? Go back.
It
don't
went
know.
to his life, right? It was all in his stuff. I'm talking
Definitely
about
Judgment.
before
Yeah.
the whole outbreak started, right?
Okay.
So, like, let's have that whole story, right? We're starting to get that story sort of told from the future, but we can actually have the actual story. And then you can have it be as scary as possible, because this is brand new, right? So people wouldn't know what the hell is going on, and you suddenly have to deal with this outbreak that just happens. People don't know what to even think, and you have to go in as either a soldier
Yeah.
or maybe you swap as a soldier and an average citizen, and you're like, how the
Yeah.
heck do I survive this?
That's so wicked.
Right? And there's so much potential there, right?
And I hear the lore is really good as well for the game.
Exactly, right? So you have this whole potential to do that. So that would be a series that they could do, right? A prequel series, total new, right? And then give you a very different vibe, because that is literal survival. Like, something this crazy is happening in the world, and now you have to deal with it, right? So
Yeah.
like that would
That's
be a
wicked.
cool way to do it.
That's
for
where
me.
my reload would come in. No, but that's a wicked premise for the fucking game. I think that sounds pretty cool, because I don't know if you know how much about the lore, but it jumped into I always found that weird. Like Gears, you've jumped into several years in the war where you've been confronting the same
exactly.
enemies for a while, whereas you've lost a
S1.
big element of
It
the
would
surprise,
obviously
the
work
intrigue
for the
of
fans as
encountering.
well, because they've termed it so distinctly. Like, everybody knows of E-Day. If you play Gears of War, they always refer to Emergence
Yeah.
Day, and they could definitely feature that. Yeah, so I'm with you on that one. That would be cool to see.
Yeah, I think that
And
would be wicked.
you could actually have build up to E-Day, right? You could have like
Gears
a
of
whole
War
bunch of
E-Day's
stuff
like
that you
even got a name that makes sense. Everyone would know.
right? And so you can
Oh yeah, that's
build
actually
up
a
to
sick
how
name.
that started, like how they were doing the research. I don't want to give away any of the story, right? But like how all this stuff came about, and then suddenly, boom, E-Day, and right, and so you can see where it goes from there. But there's
do you know-
definitely some potential with that.
Absolutely. Can you the steps that humanity would have taken for the creation of the Lancer? Think about. I always found that like weird. Like they've got a gun with a chainsaw on it. At some point, they've arrived at the conclusion that this is an effective way to fight a horde of these people. To literally build a weapon that cuts the flesh in half
Like
effortlessly.
in Gears universe, this is just a kitchen utensil. This is for food preparation.
It is now compared to the Hammer of Dawn and all that shit. But there was a lot of conflict that. Human conflict in the lore. You see the massive human conflict, and then in the midst of the height of the human conflict, these fucking aliens come in, and that's a wicked like set piece for a story, because technologically, in terms of warfare, both sides are advanced to the level that we see them at, and then they'll definitely have to make adjustments for the Locust. So incredible. Premise there in your suggestion there, Hargeet. I think that would be brilliant for the offshoot, which will end up becoming the main shoot if they include my reload mechanic. So that's Gears is, and Gears we'll probably see next year. I reckon we'll definitely see it at a showcase event based on some of the inner things I'm hearing.
Let's hope so. It's about time, right? I think that they've had, was it 2019 when that came out?
And they cancelled those other projects, so they're all focused on this.
So hopefully it's getting close. At least we can get a CGI for it or something, right?
Maybe. I think the people, unless it's like a Mad World 2 kind of trailer and CGI, then I don't care, because Mad World was epic. Did they do Mad World like take again for this last game? Maybe they did. I feel like, or unless it was fan made. We'll see. Shout out to Wolf of Darkness with the AED 1799. Hey guys, Salam alaikum, brother. Walaikum salam. I want to let you know that Asa Hargeet, you're truly the top in Xbox podcast. Gear 6 must be an open. Oh, Wolf, you're doing well until the last 3 words. Open world. Why? It's so shit. Fucking so lame. Like, go in the freaking little thing, like little kite thing, and he just goes. Open world didn't add anything to the last game. Like, it looked. The sand looked nice. The red sand.
Certainly
looked
they
nice.
could make it better, but I don't know. Like it kind of. At least like the first ones were really good at giving you a corridor shooter, right? So that you were kind of told where to go and everything was kind of a set piece, right? Like, I don't think it really works to make this kind of, well, maybe it could, but to make it an open world
Isn't
game.
it confirmed it's open world already?
It probably
Actually,
is, right?
Yeah.
Because they probably want to expand on what they did before. But it kind of felt just like extra tacked on junk, right? It was just like fetch questy stuff, to me anyways, right? It didn't really expand on the story. Eventually, it just felt like I was just doing side stuff for the heck of doing side stuff.
You felt the same as me then, okay.
So I wasn't overly enamored by it. I actually kind of got bored by it. I didn't like it. It was okay, but it like the main story, like if you keep like the Gears tradition of what it is like you're under the gun to make sure calamity doesn't happen, right? And that just is so much better if you have set pieces and you're directed where you need to go. To me, anyways, that just makes it much more.
I think
like,
I agree with you 100%.
I'm getting through this, and the pacing is just there. You're just like, I don't know, just like that part just kind of it was okay. It kind of took away from the rush of the game to me anyway.
And the story, I liked the way it started. I really cared for Kate, I think her name is.
Yeah.
The fact that I remember it says a lot, because I don't remember the names of the 2 people I had a choice to kill at the end of the game, which is such a cheap mechanic.
Like, I don't like avoiding spoilers and all the rest of it, but it said, you can only save one of them. I'm like, can I not? Can I just let them both die? Because
Yeah, I know,
exactly.
right?
I'm sure
I
I'm not alone
actually
in that.
audibly said, I don't give a shit. I think I said something like that. I said, I don't give a shit. It's just like that realization that the story just was flaccid to me. I didn't like it at all. I don't know who the 2 people are. To this, I don't remember. I was supposed to
I know
feel
the
it.
names, but I'm not going to say them because I want people to play the game.
Kate's story was cool.
But,
the mother thing, and the link was good. Just dark, and then tonally, it just goes back to Fast and Furious. Like, it just, oh man.
There wasn't that same level of sort of brotherhood, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, with Dom and Marcus, right? And so it
you
did
can't
kind of
get
feel
that.
like,
That was iconic, though. That was iconic.
but fair enough. But that's what we're used to, right? And this is just one of those things of like, if you're going to tell a story, right, it needs to have that kind of reason for you to care about the other characters, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't establish that, it becomes just like, meh, okay, whatever, right?
Be honest, chat. There's no chance that you care for the new characters as much as, say, Dom and Marcus Phoenix. That was incredible. Like, even when Gears did Dom stuff with its story, I really liked the Gears and Dom saga. Dom's wife was a story that was delivered rawly, and it just stuck with me like, yo, that's pretty raw what they did to his wife. That's not the worst thing you could ever imagine. Like, you go crazy, and Dom does go crazy in the story. Like, basically, he goes mental, and then just welcomes his suicide. He's almost begging to die at that point. That's the story what it's saying, and like that's how he thrust himself into this scenario and killed himself, but really he was just looking to die. He died the day his wife died, or he held his wife as that husk. Yeah, it was my battery's going. But as he was holding her, that husk of a woman, like still alive, breathing. It's so raw. Such a that kind of, you hit those deep vibes, Gears story
But that's what they need to do, right? That's when
Yeah,
the 360 heyday was like when you had like the Halo 3s, you had like the Gears, right? And these like awesome games, Mass Effect, right? And these exclusives that were just crazy. And now you're missing that piece, right? You still have pretty good Forza's great, but they're not going to give you that kind of like mature story that just pulls you in, right? And like Halo had been lacking that with 4 and 5. 4 was okay, it wasn't bad. 5 was just, what the heck was this? And then Infinite's, I think it's good, but it just doesn't finish it, and so you're kind of just missing that, right? And so you want to have that kind of thing. Now some of these other games might come in and fill in that gap, but that is kind of what you were missing.
I think next Gears might have a good story though. I think the execution
I hope so. I don't
poor.
know, right? But nothing tells me that has changed.
I think it will be darker. I think it will be darker. Maybe gameplay wise, they can't change it fundamentally like we want.
Yeah.
But I think it will be darker, and I'm intrigued to see they're going to conclude that. They'll take on board the criticisms. They got better. They got better in terms of storytelling.
I think Hive Busters was a cool little side thing that they added. The story was a little bit better there, but they would need to flesh that out as well, right? So if they're going to have a main story character set that's like that, kind of go in that direction. But again, that was also very, forced. It wasn't open world. You kind of just did, you were told, here's what you got to do. You're going here, right? And you kind of just went through the progression, right, to make sure things got done. And so, I don't know. That was kind of cool. I don't know if you played.
Look at this trailer. So good.
But, yeah.
It's going for that deep vibes. I agree with you. Completely. I'm excited about Gears, though. I'm also excited on the multiplayer front for that. I've sat out Gears. I expect a pretty conservative upgrade on the multiplayer formula because Gears community really likes... they're very tight-knit. They're like the Halo community with changes. That's why you still have like a Nasher active reload pop cover sniper one shot. That's the meta that Gears fans like. The serotonin release.
That's what I mean when I say that the raw gameplay of Gears of War is still relevant. Like you don't need to change those kind of fundamentals, and you'll ruin the multiplayer with your quick time event reload.
Okay, forget the quick time. Not necessarily, but I will say what I'm talking about is actually enhancing those elements of what makes Gears good. The snappiness, like I was talking about in the past podcast, you're just sliding through, and the impact of the slidiness was lost. So enhance the slidiness, just feel the snappiness of the good high fidelity vision of this game. Even a multiplayer form, you slow it down, and it visually, like you closer camera, more like much. I think it would have to be a closer camera with a more intimate setting, and then you smash into a pillar that's quite close to you on screen, and you see bits of it like fall off. Enhance that feeling of the snap. Even active reload, even in its base form, like normal version, is that hitting that feel, the sound cue of it. So just whatever. And just the combat bloodiness, violent, just make it super ultra violent. Because if you've seen Crobat's video of comparing old Gears with the latest one, what you actually see is it lose weight. This may not make sense to you, but watch the animations, the blood, and everything. It seems to have gone down. So it shows the weightiness of that game. It's kind of like what Halo 5 did. They increased weight to that game because they felt like Master Chief should weigh more. There was a big focus on weight clambering, the mechanics of being a walking tank, and they dialed that down with Halo Infinite. Well, actually went the other way, give him a freaking rope to swing around like Tarzan. So very different take there. I'm talking shit. So, gents, I think we've covered most of the topics that we want to talk about. I think all of them. Wait, let me go back up. I've got Robocop here, but you already talked about how cool this game looks, so there's not much you can say, but I really want to play that game. But yeah, chat, what do you want us to talk? I don't know. I don't want the chat to end, but I've run out of topics. What are we going
to go over? What the game of the year is going to be?
When is the Game Awards?
December 7, 8, something like that. But the nominees should be out, in a week or two? Something like that?
Do you think Starfield's going to be nominated now?
I don't think so.
You Ooh, shit. From Game of the
What do you guys
Generation to not even being Game of the Year nominated, that would be an L. But it's understandable
It's
because
a tough year.
It's an
a tough
insane year. Insane. I don't think Spider-Man 2, without having played it, I don't think it should be fucking in the running, by the way. Oh, guys, you haven't played it yet. Oh, yeah, I know. But I just don't think
I think it'll be nominated. I think Spider-Man 2 will be
Oh,
there.
definitely nominated. It'll definitely be nominated. Spider-Man is getting nominated. It hit 90 meta, man. Come on. And it's a PlayStation exclusive and sold loads, apparently. It would have. Zelda. Super Mario Wonder.
Wonder. Yep, those are there.
Armored Core is definitely not getting one. But
Alan
it
Wake is
deserves
likely
it.
there.
Alan Wake 2 is going to be there.
Yep.
What else is going to be there? What else is going to be Game of the Year?
Baldur's Gate 3.
Street Fighter
Baldur's
6.
Shit 3.
Baldur's Gate 3 is the big one. Definitely going to be there. Probably going to win.
No.
It's a
I
safe
hope
one to
not.
win as well. It will,
I hate
it will,
the
it will
idea
win.
of that winning,
I'll
but
tell you right
anyway.
now, chat. Baldur's Gate 3 is winning.
I mean, if I had to pick
There's
one, it's
still-
Tears of the
Tears of
Kingdom
the
would
Kingdom
win,
is
but
still right
Baldur's
up
Gate,
there.
Baldur's Shit
Yeah.
3, no.
It won't win. They'll just say it's iterative of Ocarina of Time. It's too close to. I don't think. they'll give it
Ocarina of
to-
Time. You mean maybe Breath of the
Sorry,
Wild?
sorry. Yeah,
Like Ocarina of
Breath
Time.
of the
Okay,
Wild.
wow.
yeah. Ocarina of Time. Oh, my God, my number one. Ocarina of Time is my number one game.
But yeah, so and then one indie, and there's a couple of them that come to mind to me: Dave the Diver or Sea of Stars
Dave the Diver. What the fuck is that?
or Cocoon. It's one of the highest
Cocoon.
rated indies is Dave
to
the
Cocoon.
Diver.
If you give it to Cocoon, Jeff Keighley, because I know you have the final say. Don't even deny it. Your fake democracy. Cocoon should win.
I mean, you haven't played the other one, so you don't know, right? So
I don't care. I'm just taking the piss. Cocoon's just such a nice one. But it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3, man. Nothing.
Baldur's Shit 3? Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's definitely.
Why do you
gonna
call
win.
it that?
It's definitely.
Explain yourself. 'Cause
I
it's brilliant.
can't stand that game. It was such trash. I wasted
For
12
him.
human hours on that stupid game of my life.
It's definitely not for you,
can't
then.
Stand that game. It's so bad. I do not understand how anybody says that's a 90s whatever game. It's so terrible. To me, it's at least a 4. I'd be generous giving it a 5 out of 10. It was so bad. So I don't know
I'm
how
so
that
glad I
game
don't
is
get you
even
to
where it
review
is.
games. Fuck, it's
It's
crazy.
such trash. Oh my god, it's such trash.
I love it.
To you,
Exactly, right? Like so for somebody out there, you like it. I have no idea.
a lot
how
of
you like
people
it.
do. It's 90. God knows what on Metacritic. What is it? 96 or something?
Yes.
Fucking crazy.
So, have you played it?
It's not for me.
That's the freaking point.
I know I'm talking about not my taste. What's gonna win Game of the Year, bro? People
It's gonna
do
be
enjoy
Tears of the
it.
Kingdom, dude.
Bro,
There's more people
who play
would
this game who
that
like
and
it say it's fucking incredible. Asa, you played it. You were saying it was not that good after Act 3 or something.
Well, I mean,
No. So there was supposed to be, and this isn't personal experience because I haven't got to Act 3 yet. People said that the quality fell off a bit as you got towards the end of the game because it was in early access for so long that Act 1 got played and tested and played and tested and reiterated over and over again. I don't know because I've heard mixed things. And now that people are more so getting to Act 3, they're saying it's brilliant still. For me, I haven't played enough of the Game of the Year games to say that one should win it because I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't played Alan Wake 2. I haven't played so many of the things that people would nominate into that position. But I can say absolutely that Baldur's Gate 3 is freaking brilliant. And putting subjectiveness aside, and this is obviously difficult because whenever you're looking at the quality of a game, to an extent, it's going to be subjective. But if you look at it, if you try and look at it through an objective lens to see what it does well and what it does badly, and curious, Hargeet, if you actually think that it's like if they've executed poorly on what they're trying to do there, if you think it's actually mechanically a bad game, or if you think you just don't like it.
So the combat on it was tremendously terrible. I couldn't even stand it. All the side characters that you have, I wanted all of them to die. There was just no point.
You can make that happen.
They were. Yeah, literally, and I basically got to a fight where I'm like, I'm trying to pick these morons up because they keep falling, and I'm like, why am I bothering? And then I'm asking myself, why am I even playing this game? I don't resonate with it at all. like at all. So the story was like trash 80s crap. I'm like, seriously, this is a story? Really? It was crap.
It's Dungeons and Dragons, so it's going to be like that.
I didn't resonate with one character, right? I'm like, dude, what is this game? It starts out, I swear to God,
I don't think he likes the game.
I swear to God, I'm like, the opening cinematic, and like, this is a 360 game. Like, it felt like a 360 game, like, totally. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I don't care about graphics, so I'll keep playing.
Nick Marseille's going to come after you for that
dude,
one.
what is this crap? It was just... Now, somebody, like, other people seem to have totally different, like, you know... I guess.
Look at this, Hargeet. You've got two responses.
And I'm sitting here going, how can you even like this?
So like, back-to-back super chats. Black Cobra, the $2 super chat goes, sounds like a skill issue for this guy, Hargeet, for Baldur's Gate 3. And then
I just finished Persona. I've played the Tales series. I've played plenty of, like, you know,
you have
turn-based games.
It's not a skill issue.
It's
not even skill in that game. You just freaking roll some dice.
No, it's pretty difficult.
So to me, now look, like, people told me.
I don't even know.
People told me that, you know, once you play this.
I'm like, what the fuck is this?
You don't want to play like Starfield because this is so much better, right? That's what people told me. But I played Starfield first, and then I came to this, and I'm like, and you're telling me this is better? Like it, like this.
Even I can admit, like, based on what I've heard about the game, it's pretty crazy. Like,
what is this?
You've got more freedom and like all the shit you can do. I've seen some crazy stuff. I don't know if the gameplay mechanics will be for me and the story because it's very Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, there's no freedom.
But the scope of it is insane. If you give me a cyberpunk setting of that, I will play that. If you give me a cyberpunk setting of that game, I will definitely.
Which one of Starfield?
Off Baldur's Gate 3.
Baldur's Gate has zero freedom. You are forced to be in certain areas. That's just the way it is. So there's no freedom.
Your idea of freedom is slightly different, yeah. In terms of like freedom of choice and the ramifications of what can happen, that's a very specific type of freedom, yeah. You're right.
But as far as like where I can go, I was forced to go where they told me to go.
Yeah, you can tell.
And ultimately, like, it just in no way hooked me, right? The first like hour should hook me. I played it for 12 hours. I thought that was more than enough. It just, at some point, like, it should resonate. It didn't in any way. And it more and
God
more,
Emperor
like,
Sofa King says, Huggy, talk that shit. Game was dog water.
I mean, look, it's not for everybody. Like, you don't even want to play it, GaaS, right? And it's really just not for everybody. And that's why I think Tears of the Kingdom will win, because the people who would review that kind of game is a larger number. So the people who are going to vote, I think a larger number of them will have played and finished Tears of the Kingdom than Baldur's Gate.
Why I asked the question, though, because I've always said about Baldur's Gate 3, I really like it, but absolutely acknowledge that it's not going to be everyone's kind of game, because it's definitely
a very
not.
niche game.
But that's very different to it being bad. Like, there's lots of games.
I think it's definitely, we can all agree it's a Hargeet problem.
Game. Well, yeah, but I could play a stealth game. I could look at it and say, well, or a 3D platformer. I don't like those. I could play one of those and go, well, I don't personally like this, but I can see that they've executed well. This is tight. It plays well. It's well designed. All the rest of it. I can step back and say whether this is a game that has quality about it or not. But you're talking about Baldur's Gate 3 like it is an absolute trash can disaster of a game.
So I'll give you another example, right?
Step apart from like the general reception for it. It's curious.
So Solasta, which was a game that was in Game Pass, is very similar to Baldur's Gate 3. That one I did like. So that one hooked me pretty much immediately. I don't know what the difference is, but that one was more fun. Solasta. Very similar game. It's a D&D type game. Again, you're rolling for the dice to
what did you like about that game?
The story. It just felt more like
it's based story. Yeah, you did say companions. You did say
the companion. Like, I actually cared. I honestly did not care for any of all the people in that game. Are just horrible people, and I'm like, and maybe that's just it. I expect to see somebody that with any redeeming qualities, and I'm like, none of these people are good. So like, I don't like it. It doesn't resonate with me. Right, so
Muslim Beg with the $2 Canadian. Oh my God, can you read that in Punjabi? Because that is strong Punjabi. I cannot read. Muslim Beg. Hargeet, that's Punjabi. God Emperor Sofa King with the $2 super chat. Hogwarts is better than Baldur's Gate 3. What? Hogwarts is actually something I would probably enjoy more than Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, 100%. For me, Hogwarts was night and day better.
Oh, you fucking love Harry Potter, Wingardium Leviosa. Exactly. Just because you look like Hagrid doesn't mean you need to
You want me to read this?
Yes, please.
Hargeet Paji nu mere valo salam bahut sara.
He's saying hi to you.
Yes.
Thank you. Lots of highs and welcomes from that gentleman. Shout out to you. Everyone in BG3 is horny as fuck. They all want to fuck. Is that what it is? Their sex drive put you off the game.
That's a really funny one. One of the first patches of the game was like, whoops, everyone was too horny. So they patched the horniness out.
Everyone was too horny. That is so poetic. The game developers literally put that in the game thinking that is an appropriate level of being horny. Everyone who works at that studio is horny as fuck. Horny as fuck. Whoever designed the characters anyway. Because they didn't realize, they're like, oh shit, this is a bit too wild. So that person is kinky as fuck. Larian Studios, they probably have all kinds of like 50 Shades of Grey dungeon rooms there and all kinds of leather and cricket bats. They must do. They're fucking bear sex in the game, bruv. If you don't want any more clues,
I mean, to be fair, it's basically you can... as a character, you can convert over to whatever, right? So you can transform. So you can just be in your transform mode. I don't know about the whatever that part of it is. It's overblown.
I have seen some shit. Like, there's so much crap you can do in this game. A lot of it revolves around banging someone. It's like Game of Thrones. Why am I not playing this game? What the fuck's wrong with me?
Well, try it and see if it's for you, right? Give it a shot and see if it's something you would like. But for me, the best part of that game was uninstalling it.
I love you, Hargeet.
I'm sorry, but that was it. I gave up. I'm like, I just can't. I can't do this anymore.
So, did you like the game?
Me?
Your face is so funny. Well, I don't hate Baldur's Gate because I'm indifferent to it. Yeah. Doesn't seem like it's my kind of thing.
I haven't played the other ones like Divinity, right? Original Sin and something like that. Divinity 2, right? I think that was
the other Baldur's Gate 3. You will not like those.
Yeah. Baldur's Gate originally was BioWare, right? So I don't know if that would be good or I don't know. I'd have to play it to see, but
Ranting Greek Gamer says, Hargeet, did you like the Mass Effect series? Because Baldur's Gate 3 is essentially the same thing, only in a different universe and turn-based.
Do not dare compare that Baldur's shit to Mass Effect. Mass Effect is a league ahead of pretty much everything. It is by far one of the best RPG series I've played. No, Mass Effect is way the heck up here, dude. If there's a series that competes with Zelda,
story is very important to Hargeet.
Oh my god, Mass Effect is fantastic. Love Mass Effect.
If there's like a series that competes with Zelda, if we're talking Game of the Year nominations, I've got to say, if you're going up against Zelda, it's got to be Quantum Break. What? Not Quantum Break. That
Quantum Error.
That term one we're talking today. Yes, thank you.
Quantum Error. Quantum Error.
Yeah.
Fuck your joke by getting the wrong substandard game. Quantum Break.
Quantum Error.
It's a self-sabotage, just like the developers who made Quantum Error. A fatal one at that. A Quantum Error, man.
But Quantum Break's developers did put out Alan Wake, and that is apparently resonating with a lot of people, right? Rand is saying, I think he thinks it's his game of the year, right? So so that's a potential. That could be one that wins. We don't know, but I think it'll get nominated.
God, Emperor Sophocles thinks full broken over Baldur's Gate 3. He says Forspoken should be over Baldur's Gate 3. Wow.
He might not be wrong. I think if I ever tried that game, I would probably like it more because there's actual action that I can actually do stuff, right? So you can always
now
mute
story
the morons
doesn't matter.
talking.
I'm confused. The fucking story of that game looks like yeah.
Well, but is it though? And that's my so the story was written by some pretty respectable names. It was the banter, right? That wasn't written by them.
Which is a character in the game,
right? It is the banter of that character.
I think the banter was the one that was written by the respectable names. I think rather than the core story.
They came out and said that they didn't write that part. It was the main story arc was written by Gary Whitta and Amy Hennig, right? I think that was the other person working on it.
Oh, I thought they did the script.
No, it was the main story arc. It wasn't the banter. That was somebody else.
Shit, sorry. No one talks about it. Even the people who like it, I've not seen them say the story's incredible. No one has said it. They say it's a good game. Shit game. But it's not a shit game. I'm sure it's okay.
I mean, I enjoyed, and I'm telling you, this is a mid game. I enjoyed Redfall.
I want it to be good.
More
Redfall. What the fucking? You just keep just digging a hole for yourself.
3. And I'm telling you, that game is mid because we didn't go back.
Game is not even mid. It's insults
It's like
mid.
meh. Now look, I played that on PC. I didn't play it on. You played it on console, right? And it had a lot of issues on console as well. But it had issues no matter what. But it performed so much better on my PC that I didn't care about that part of it, at least. So, but I agree, it's a total mid game. But I had more fun in that than.
Zayn Bashir says this clip is going to be used by the PlayStation fanboys on Twitter this week. You're absolutely right. Absolutely
what I feel about
right.
the game. I gave it 12 hours.
And you know what's going to happen? They're
going
to come after me. They're going to come after me because you're not on social media. Then they just say, oh, GaaS, why do you... Oh, this guy, oh, you GaaS is part... This is still part of GameOnDaily. You guys are just getting him on. Well,
I want all those people who respond...
I'm not saying it.
Play the effing game and show me your hours. Show me your hours in that game.
Oh, shit.
If you're going to say that I didn't... I'm wrong, fine. Go show me your hours in that game. I want to see 100 hours. And then you can talk to me about how my opinion of that game.
They didn't play it. We know they didn't play the game, so you're probably singing.
I just spent 100 hours finishing Persona, so I want to see you guys. Go ahead, show me the 100 hours in Baldur's 3 before you come after me. Go ahead.
You're gonna take that.
Go ahead. Show me the hours.
They can't because they didn't buy the game because they barely pretended.
It's facts, guys. They did that. The game did not sell well on PS5. It sold well on PC where it belongs. It's a PC game. I get that, but hey, those PlayStation people, if you want to talk, show me how you've played 100 hours in that game, and then you can talk.
No, but now they have Spider-Man to rely on. They just cast it aside when there's a time.
I love that Spider-Man game. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. Keep on swinging.
Oh, man. Oh, chat. That is definitely him. And I agree with him. And most likely, Ponies, if you're watching this, you do too. You're just not man enough to admit it. So show me your trophies, I'll show you my achievements. Serve. Hargeet has issued that you only played it for 12 hours. So why are you inviting Mercages? Well, they wouldn't even have played it for 1 hour. They haven't even bought it. What am I talking about?
They haven't bought it.
Yeah,
I mean, if they bought it, there would be sales numbers. The sales numbers are pathetic. They didn't buy it. It's not. It's just facts. It's just facts.
Ponies.
It sold well on PC. Thankfully, it sold well on PC for them. I don't want anything bad to happen to Larian. I just don't like the game. That's fair, right? It doesn't mean I'm not going to like every game. That's just the way it is, right? Not everybody likes everything.
Yeah, we've established you did not like that game, and Ponies don't like that game. It's not that game; it's a type of game.
I'd be surprised when it comes to Xbox how many people play it, and it's the same kind of response.
I think it'll be nothing major response, but I'm expecting a high proportion of Xbox guys, just in terms of proportion, playing it. There's a little bit more for PC grounding with or association with
Xbox folks, yeah.
Just historically, I just feel like they're more, the dude bro thing, multiplayer centric. There's a lot more synergy between that.
There is that piece of it, by the way, that I didn't experience at all. Right? It is a multiplayer game. Right, it's a co-op campaign. I only played it myself, so I don't know if that changes things. Like Redfall was a lot more fun because I was playing with other people. Right, so it is a potential that maybe this game is different if you play it with friends, right? And those NPCs or whatever are maybe your friends, right? And so now it makes it much more.
How does that work in this game, by the way? The co-op.
You choose one of those characters, right? So you choose one of those NPCs, and so you can. Yeah, true. You can choose to be something random, but you can choose to be one of those main characters, or you can choose to just make your own character, right? And so your friends could be one of those people, right? Or they could be their own character.
So how does that work if you're your own character in terms of story?
It's still the same story. You would
so
still
that means
have
you
those
don't
NPCs available.
the co-op. There's no story element per se. Like everyone's experiencing.
No, each
in
one
terms
of those NPCs
choices,
has their own story arc. Right, and you can go through their story arc if you want.
If you're doing co-op, does one person get to make the choices?
It's slightly complicated. So if you are playing it like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign and you've got a consistent group of friends and you set out from the start, say we're going to play this together, then you can all make your custom characters, and they're essentially going through the same story but have their own take on it. It also supports drop in, drop out. So if you start a single player game and you make your character, or you can pick one of the origin characters, so you can be one of the storied ones if you prefer, if you like the told RPG rather than the custom character side of things. But in that case, if you want people to drop into co-op, then they just temporarily take over one of the party members rather than making their own character. And the story is, I would say, if you are doing it traditional, like multiplayer, everyone's got their custom character things, it's not perfect in the way that it keeps those stories distinct, because you are essentially on control when it's live. But
so it comes back to me talking about gear sex. Gear sex? Bear sex? Gear sex. That'd be brilliant. Okay, well, we might as well continue. Baldur's Gate 3 is not really for me, man. It's not for me. It's just like, I want a dank story. What is the game that's coming out that's going to have a dank story?
Baldur's Gate 3 has a dank story.
Does it? Does it have a dank? Is it what, like elven shit and stuff though?
If you don't like high fantasy at all, then you probably won't like the story. But
yeah,
but it is good, and you have a lot of freedom. Yeah. Some of my favourite moments have been when people have died in ways that I didn't expect would be possible. Where in a normal game you wouldn't be able to. Like, a conversation wouldn't play out in the way that it does in Baldur's Gate 3. I had two of the companion characters were having a little argument, and I decided you get the typical options that you're used to in an RPG, where it's like you can side with one of them, you can reprimand them, you can be diplomatic and try and like let it play out. And I went for, I'm just going to let them have their argument and see what happens. And one of them stabbed the other one in the throat and stamped out her life force, and she was gone forever. And this is how it's got depth as an RPG that most games, like a Starfield, wouldn't allow this kind of thing. And this is where I'm not saying that it's right to compare Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield in that way, because I think it's a silly comparison. They're shooting for different things, but it's something that Baldur's Gate 3 does very, very well.
This does sound amazing, actually. I feel like something I would actually use the Steam Deck for, because like Disco Elysium, which I need to play as well. Fucking hell, there's some of these game stories. And 082 probably, chat. CYBU with a $2 super chat. He goes, thank you, man. He goes, show topic. The day before, a real game. Bro, did you see the trailer for the day before, man? They're so disappointing. So disappointing from what they showed before. Like, the day before was going to, if people don't know, the day before is a zombie survival game with zombies. Like, a lot of games like this on PC. If you played Miscreated on PC, fucking brilliant. But this stood out from the sea of these survival games because visually it looked amazing. Tonally, it resembled The Division. And it just looked like Division. It looked bits of like Last of Us, but RPG. Like, it looked beautiful. It looked like basically your Walking Dead simulator. That's what you want. And we heard about the development bullshit about this game and how much was ready and whatever. And then the latest trailers come out, and you can tell for me, it looks like you can tell that I may be wrong, and I hope I'm horribly wrong, but I don't think this is going to be. Tonally, they had this woman talking about it, all the live service things. Hey, get your gear, this and that. And I thought, well, this was supposed to be a serious game. Like, but, bro, you just pulled up the trailer, and a sports car was at the start of it. I thought, he's got the wrong trailer out. I didn't remember that it had that, like, tonally. What is that? Like, what the fuck? Is that Fast and Furious? Like, it's a shame, because it's like going more for more Dead Island than Walking Dead. Not Dead Island, sorry. I meant Dead Rising. It's just, I don't know, man. Yeah, Slim Pickett says it's completely changed direction, this game. Have you looked at this before? Have you get a follow? It's one that not everyone follows, but I was quite intrigued about this. No?
What was this about?
It's like it's a really, like, the premise of it is exactly what a lot of people want on, like, DayZ, basically. A third person DayZ was supposed to be survival game.
Yeah, they call it massively multiplayer survival game, and a lot about it is enticing, but a lot about it reeks of don't trust.
Yeah.
It comes out in early access fairly soon, so people will know soon enough if there is any substance to this to match up to the trailers. And some of the trailers have looked very good, but this goes for the one that we've just seen a couple of days ago, and the ones that they showed prior were picked apart and proven to be misleading in certain ways.
Yeah.
So I don't have high hopes that it'll come out well. It doesn't mean they can't polish it up into something good. They also had quite a long-running legal dispute over the name. So that's why we've had more recent reveals is they won their legal battle to be able to use the name the day before, which belonged to something else as well. I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I mean, it looks like a potential it could potentially surprise. I hope I'm wrong because
when you look at things, so the games that you said, Miscreated and DayZ were janky games that thrived in the PC space because they attempted to do a lot. They had a lot of depth to them, and it might succeed as a janky game. Like, it might be good.
I was hoping for a little bit more than a janky game, though. That's the problem with the day before. He's got the gym, man. But... Like, he's there. They're doing on the treadmill. Come on, man. The menu looks like from Miscreated, but blown up anyway. Oh, they got fucking sports cars in there. Just like, this is not what we were like. Direction has just gone cheap. It's like they're going for the GTA vibes with an orange and blue sports car. Like, really? And then they've chucked everything in there to make your own house and everything. So they've gone. It's just cheaper look, but the jank might be good. It's just not going to be the kind of game I think a lot of people were hoping it would be. Let's be real. So yeah, DayZ was an amazing walking sim. DayZ, I installed it. My friends like it's amazing, and for 2 hours, I was holding the W key, because there's no auto run, and all I was doing was run. But there was a fucking vibe to it. Like, you were shook because if there were players in the game, you could hear some shots go off, and it was like, oh shit, you get one life, and then whatever. So it was janky as hell, but it had potential, and that when you play that kind of game, which is why State of Decay 3, a lot of people have an idea of what the game should be, and it's that dread of that world and other human players, and there's a vibe there, but I don't think this game's going to hit. It's going for the more for like checklist staple survival game stuff, and that's a shame. But yeah, it's a weird industry, like maybe easier to market to the masses, no? Because the one I'm talking about need to be really, really good to be like in that conversation. The jank is allowed to be pretty. If it's a jank game, then you're like, well, I don't expect like amazingly
to tie it back to other conversations. When you look at survival games like that, I mean, this one's obviously quite specifically a zombie scenario, but survival games as a genre in general is one that I have said for a long time is really ripe for the Blizzard treatment. And obviously they're doing it. Odyssey is a survival game, but when you take a game that's massively popular but typically kind of janky, you can get a studio that can kind of capture the things that make it good, capture the essence of fun in that game, and just strip away some of that jank, refine it, and just like really bring the good bits to the surface. Then you've got something quite magical that I'd probably love. And old Blizzard would have been the studio I would trust most to do this. When Phil Spencer was on stage at BlizzCon, he specifically said, and this is one of these, he's very good at saying things in general, so it doesn't necessarily mean a lot, but one of the things that gives you that spark of hope is he seemed to really understand that is what Blizzard are good at, and he said specifically that he's going to let them redefine genres in the way that they used to. Essentially, that's his hope for Blizzard. So if he can, if that studio can take a step away from what I consider quite monetization practices across all of their games, Overwatch, Diablo 4, World of Warcraft in particular, if they can get a little distance from their dark patterns and monetization and focus on what they used to be good at, then Odyssey might come out and be that survival game that doesn't have zombies in, but could be something special, hopefully.
Yeah, man, that's what I was kind of disappointed we didn't see that BlizzCon. Me and Colt were hoping for something from Odyssey, but I think you're on the money there. I think the inner desire of the developers will be to strip away that shit, and I also think Phil Spencer will listen. I think he will. I don't think they will.
He's proven, if nothing else, even if his words don't hold value, if it's like PR and you can't trust him or whatever else people might say, he's at least proven that he understands fundamentally what people liked about Blizzard. So that's encouraging.
Exactly. And he is a gamer after all. He plays a lot of games and he knows his games. And when he talks about games, when you may chat may not know like what Cole and them lot tell me. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, he's talking about specifics. It was literally, we followed his build on Vampire Survivors, by the way. And that's when I started to break off. Because he told me garlic, something else, Holy Bible, and something else. And those two things are pretty strong on Vampire Survivors, man. So like, he's like, don't forget garlic. And that was early before everyone had garlic as well. So Phil knows his games. And I think Phil understands Blizzard as well. And I think, people say it's just fanboying me, but I genuinely believe Blizzard can do some amazing things under Microsoft specifically, because of people like Phil Spencer. Even if it's pandering, they'll understand what fans want. I think just generally we're going to see greatness. The only problem is COD. I said ABK. COD, I think they'll strip down the teams and to run a basic one that will get the churn. People will still buy COD, and a lot of other people will want to work on other stuff, new IPs and shit.
You're thinking they would keep making COD but with a smaller team? I mean, they took all of Activision's studios.
They're going to strip it down. Studios. If based on what you said about them doing just additive, same stuff, then why do they need more people?
2 seasons instead with the
they'll do full releases, but they're basically seasons.
Yeah, but
COD, I don't have much hope for. Maybe an Infinity Ward or one of the studios will say, look, give us more time to cook.
I mean, they should just slow it down then, right? Like, what is the point of putting out a game is going to be trash? What's like...
I don't know.
Why bother?
Money
typically
man.
do they? Like, this year is a bit of an exception in that sense, because prior to this year, ignoring the acquisition and ignoring this particular dud release, Activision put a lot of effort into structuring their studios across time as development got harder and as these time spans got longer. They set a third studio on it specifically for that reason, so that they could hit the 3-year development cycle when it used to be 2. So they put a lot of focus, a lot of money, a lot of attention into structuring themselves specifically to be able to deliver annual Call of Duty games. I think at the very least, I'd like to see, I don't care about Call of Duty, so I don't care if they never make another one, but I'd like to see them move away from it, but it will take a fair while to unpick it. I don't think it's going to be imminent that we see a change to the scheduling of Call of Duty, whether I want it or not. But
yeah, so we'll see what they do with it. But yeah, I mean, I hope they just slow it down. I don't see anything. But if you're saying there's contractual issues, then that's a problem. But if there's no contractual issues, then I hope they slow it down. Because Phil had mentioned that he wanted to do it, so...
Yeah, he did mention it. I think aside from the contractual issues, though, I don't think they're going to have contracts that commit them beyond the Sony one that's supposed to expire next year or whatever. I don't think they're going to be committed to annual releases contractually, but they are so geared for it. I just don't see them moving away from it that quick. Mm-hmm.
This would be the last one they have to give them, right? They have the marketing of this throughout next year, and that's it. Then they're done.
Well, we'll see. I still think that something will come out of that stuff. I think they'll pull away a decent amount of people from some of those teams to work on new IPs or legacy IPs. I think next year is going to be very interesting
with this, right? A lot
for mobile. yeah.
Well, no, that's true as well. We keep ignoring that piece, but King is the moneymaker. It's just facts.
The thing is, though, if you're Microsoft and you've got this $70 billion deal and then there's pressure to performance and stuff, mobile is where the execs don't care, because they've said, well, you've justified this acquisition because of mobile strength and we want to be in the mobile space, and you're not going to put on mobile, you're going to put on new IPs that are not proven, and we just paid $70 billion. That's tremendous pressure. How do you escape that? I don't know. But 10,000 people is a big team. Microsoft is on upward trajectory this is a long-term play. $70 billion is the answer to that question. So it's not undeniable. It is undeniable. So it's a long-term play. And that means more growth. These guys at Bungie leaving, maybe at a perfect time for Microsoft to snipe. If they're good, they should be, but they let go of some pretty senior. The composer from Destiny, the lead composer. What? That's crazy. Hire him. But then that happened to the other guy who made the Halo one. What's his name?
Marty O'Donnell.
Marty O'Donnell did the Halo one, and Mike Salvatore is the one that just left.
Mike Salvatore, yeah. Prime time to snipe some people. I'm sure they'll bounce back pretty strongly. Mike Salvatore especially. He's gonna be bought out surely if someone likes. His name is on Destiny. And the music in that is great. Well, the themes that you remember, I don't even remember them that well. But yeah, they'll bounce back. Hopefully, all of them do. But Microsoft snipe. They're gonna buy someone. Well, chat. It's been. Well, shit. Like it's gone. At one point, we were just over the 2-hour mark. Now we're like almost 3 hours. Chat. It's been fun. It's been a wicked show. We talked about a lot of dank memes. I like it. I think the 3-person format's actually better because you get more one guest, get to read the super chats more, and get more of Acer. See, I think maybe 3-person podcast chat. What do you think? Before we go out, yeah, can I just quickly, because with this, the people are watching, can I just do a quick poll? Do you prefer a 4-man show? Or a 3-man show. This is as much your show as anyone else's. So just tell us, bruh. Do you prefer 3-man or 4-man panel? 3
or 17.
4. I was gonna put or 17. Yeah, like a lot of podcasts do, which is crazy. Sometimes the madness is good though. It's just like the noise of people talking over each other when it gets rowdy, but. Often, nah, man. 50-50 at the moment. 52. Oh, it's quite split. What the hell is... Ooh.
Well, say, like, I'm going to take the result of this personally, because I think we all know the clear difference is if there's 4 people, I don't say anything, and if there's 3, then I say more. So this is like a vote on whether you want to hear from me or not, really, essentially.
Oh, my God. Don't sully the vote and get the sympathy vote. I wanted to see what the answer was. Now you just got the sympathy vote. They're going to fuck it.
No.
But to be fair, before you even said that, it was about 60% saying 3-man. So you're pretty good, and it's retaining it there, despite you spoiling it. Delilah says yes because I miss Acer. I think it's true. Like, we need more of you there because I'm fucking mental anyway, and I don't just drag the conversation to console wars. Plus, if I'll do my live streams on my own channel, I'm going to be talking shit for days so I can vent that shit out and we can have a good conversation here. I think 3-man's the way to go. See, chat, you are live forming the future. Although Z429 has a good point, just do both formats. Yeah, if we have 3 guests, we'll have 3. If we have 4, we have 4. It depends. You're right. 2-man panel. There was supposed to be. Me and Asa would just fucking beat the shit out of each other. Verbally. Or make love. Asa make it all make sense. 0 show. Fuck you guys. Says PS5 blows with the pony face. Sorry, chat. Look, 411 of you still watching. I think it's safe to say for the 63 votes at 52%, 3 at the moment, but it's recency bias. You guys are fickle. Did I read all the super chats, by the way? Let me just quickly see something before I... Fuck, that'd be so dumb. No, I haven't. I haven't missed any super chats. Shout out to everyone. Thank you so much. Hit the like button. We're going to go. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Peace.
No, you got to let Hargeet have an outro. I don't need one, but Hargeet does.
Oh,
Hargeet,
shit.
tell the people that you've had loads of fun. Tell them you love them. Tell them what you're up to.
I'm such a dick.
No outros. Right, yeah. So anyway, I've been playing Persona 5. I finally finished that before it left, which was awesome. It was a pretty good game. I don't think I would rate it in the 9s that I think it is, but I'd give it a good 7, 8. I think it's in that range. So for those who haven't played it, it's now it's not in Game Pass, unfortunately. But some other ones are coming to Game Pass if you want to try those out. But yeah, so I was able to play that. Celasto was one of the other ones that was coming out of Game Pass. I tried that out. I actually liked it better than Baldur's Gate. I don't know what like, I think it was just like the characters and the story was just more compelling to me. So, but unfortunately that one lost out to me trying to finish up Persona, so I couldn't didn't finish that one. And then yeah, we've been playing Halo. I like it. It's been fun playing Firefight. So highly recommend go try out some of the custom browser games with Firefight. Hopefully that actual mode will come out soon. And I'm not on social media. You can bug GaaS all you want and keep complaining about everything I say, and F you to all those who complain. Don't care.
Look at his podcast. Ponies keep
don't
on
like
crying.
it. I don't care. I'll change the graphics so you can for all those who want to complain. Let's see, where's my fun pony graphic? Yes, continue to have fun with your,
you wanted to give him an outro.
Licking.
This is it.
Continue to enjoy your salt, ponies. Now,
this is Asa's doing. Asa is ponies. Asa gave Hargeet the stage to say what he did. Asa is complicit with Hargeet. With a pony just sitting there licking on, what the hell is he? Is that a
Salt.
sugar cube?
It's salt.
Salt. It's actually salt. Yes. Shit.
Pony salt, buddy.
Man.
Pony salt. All right. So yeah. Keep licking that salt, ponies. This is all in jest. It's all for fun. Do not take offense to it. But anyway, so
and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Take care.